What up, fam? Hit that like, hit that subscribe. Come talk some Sixers with us, and we'll do a little stay or go and our top 10 Philly athletes. Come join us. Let's go.
Oh my God! I'm embarrassed! He's flying!
Welcome in. It's almost time.
Welcome in, everybody. This is A2D Wednesday nights, only on A2D Radio. Every Wednesday, we are brought to you by our good friends over at FanUp, and FanUp is the best way to enjoy fantasy sports, daily NFL, NBA contests now, and more. Win great prizes. Sign up today. Use our promo code A2D, and you get $50 right at sign up. So go check out FanUp, and you can download them right on the Apple Store. As always, Noah Eaton, Greg Milwakovic, Frank Vespi, Ralph Delavecchio. I'm Tom Arnone. No Crumb tonight. Ryan will probably join us shortly. And here we are. At the end of the show, we were going to give you our top 10 current Philly athletes going into 2023. So, going to be some fun stuff. We'll give you a little list. It's the season of lists. So, here we are. Eagles 2023, stay or go. Who stays? Who goes? Who do you want to stay? Who can you say goodbye to? We'll get into all that. And we're moving forward with our Eagles conversation, okay? We're not going backwards anymore. That's for cowboys and losers. We're moving forward. How do we get back? How do we get it right? And how do we hoist the Lombardi? That's the conversation coming up in the second half of the show. Our main topic at hand, a little different. It's time to get into some Sixers talk, and it'll be the Sixers second half preview. Ties into our poll question, brought to you by BOAGGIO'S Bread. They're located in Mount Laurel, New Jersey. They're the home of the best stuffed breads, tomato pies, sandwiches, cutlets, the best meatballs, and that's a fact in New Jersey. You mentioned A2D Radio, you get 10% off your order. Go check out our great friends over at BOAGGIO'S Bread. I've been there twice over the last 3 weeks. Haven't been disappointed yet, boys. So everybody out there, you won't be disappointed, and you'll get 10% off your bill. So, I mean, buy a clue if you don't use that one and you live around the area. Our poll question for tonight, Joel, this seems like a yearly conversation, right? You know, around this time of year, Eagles get over, and here we are. We're circling back. Joel Embiid and the Sixers will finally advance past the second round of the playoffs this year. Do you agree or disagree? Let us know. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, that's where we're live. Everywhere you get your podcasts, we're there as well. Hit the like, subscribe, follow, join the conversation tonight. Let us know what you're thinking, because this is a better basketball team. We'll talk about this stretch of like 10 games coming up and the stretch of the second half, okay? I mean, they're coming out right in a gauntlet. Right away, you got tomorrow night Memphis at home. That's a TNT game, okay? Then you got Boston at home, and then you got Miami at home. So you got 3 tough tasks, but I believe all 3 are at home at the Wells Fargo. So, and I know the next 10 is tough, and after that, I mean, I think it might be the hardest remaining schedule in the NBA. So we're going to find a lot out about the Sixers through this 23 game or whatever it is stretch left in the season. But talking about the playoffs and talking about them getting over their hump, I mean, this is the most complete team we've had, and probably more complete than the Jimmy team, right? I mean, this is a pretty complete basketball team. You got a really good bench, okay? And when you move Maxey there, you can get more production off your bench. But, you know, I've said this a million times. If Joel Embiid is right and Joel Embiid is healthy, I believe this team goes to an Eastern Conference final. The only thing stopping them from going to an Eastern Conference final is Joel Embiid's health or the health of somebody major that's a contributor for this basketball team. That's the only way I think they don't get over it. People are going to tell me Doc and Doc, you know, Doc's the reason they're not going to get over it. Well, Doc's gotten over that hump in his career, okay? So as much as we ridicule him, and fine, you know, kill him when it's necessary, right? But he has gotten over that hump. He has been the Eastern, Western Conference Finals, right? Etc. It's not like he's never been there himself. Now, he hasn't been there in a while, right? Okay, but it doesn't mean he doesn't know what it takes to get to that level, right? Now it's up to this basketball team. And it's up to the leader who everybody follows in Joel Embiid to say, hey, I'm going to be right. I'm going to be healthy, and I'm going to carry this basketball team to an Eastern Conference final, and then we go from there. But, dude, guys, if he gets hurt again in the playoffs, I mean, I love the guy. He's my son. I think he's generational. But if he gets hurt again in the playoffs, I mean, then we got to have a conversation of, stay or go. It's go, right? It's get as much back as you can get back, restart the air quote process, and see where we are from there, right? But I believe that this is the deepest. I believe I'm not going to say it's the best starting five, but it's really good. It's a really good starting five in this league, right? You got a lot of production, and your bench is really good. So I don't remember a more complete team through our exits. I don't know if there is. I don't think there is. Right? We talked about weak benches in the past. This isn't one. So there's only one thing left for this basketball team to do, and that's get over their own damn hump. But if he's healthy and they don't get over the hump, I can't imagine that. I don't know. I don't live in that world where that happens. I just don't. He's too good. He's too special. Like the greats like him, they get over their humps at some point, right? They always have. I think this is Joel Embiid's year. I really, truly do. This team's going under the radar, rightfully so. You had the Phillies in the World Series. You had the Eagles in a Super Bowl, okay? And all those things factor in of them being able to just go under the radar, play damn good basketball. What are they, 38-19 or 39-19? Whatever they are.
Yeah,
that's damn good basketball.
Yep, third in the East. Yep.
I think they might be the only team in the NBA that ranked top 10 in offense and defense of total in the league, right? Or they're there. They don't have like one's a top 3 and the other one's like 12. They're top 10 in both of those categories. Take that for what it is. But I believe in this team. I do. I don't remember a better team in my years of watching Sixers in the last 2 decades. I don't. The Iverson team wasn't better, and that's over 2 decades before that. That's 22 years ago. So this team is legit. But like every other year, if he ain't right, pack your bags. So I agree. They got to. It's not a question on if. It's not a question on if they get there. It's a question on, when, because they're going. They're going to an Eastern Conference final. So I'll agree. I believe in them. I truly do. Want to know what everybody in the chat thinks. I see you guys flying in. We'll read all your comments, questions, concerns, and at the end of the show, got a little public service announcement for the chat. So stay tuned for that.
Ooh, love a public service announcement.
So Ralphie, you are the hater, right?
I'll go last. No,
I don't want you to, because I decided who's going,
and
I want you to go now because I want a different opinion. I want to hear something
as the neighborhood outsider, as some people like to say. Yeah, right. I'm gonna agree. Listen. The way the East is right now, there's really 3 top teams right now, and the top teams are obviously Boston. You have Milwaukee, and you guys have, and it's you guys as well. Excuse me. Right now, the top 3. Obviously the Nets aren't going to be what they are. They obviously lost 2 of the biggest superstars, or you could say 3 of them in the past year now, and they're not going to be the same team once it comes playoff time. The Cavs are okay. I think right now, as it is standing right now, it is Joel. If Joel, it's how long can Joel take you guys, right? The injury concerns come up because it happens every single year, it feels like, for the Philadelphia 76ers and Joel Embiid. When the playoffs come, it's like destiny that Joel's going to get hurt, right? Or here comes the second round. When's the fucking injury going to happen? Is it going to happen in game 1, 2, 4? Is it going to happen in game 7? And it just seems like that every single year. I think what's going to happen is I think he stays healthy. I think he's going to be okay this playoffs because of how deep this team is and how good the bench is, like you said, Tommy. Obviously, you have Tyrese coming off the bench as well. And a couple other guys that have been giving you solid minutes as well off of the bench. And I just think right now for the Sixers, it's make or break. And I think, Tommy, you are right. If you guys do not get past the second round, you might start looking like, hey, maybe it's time to start, retooling a little bit. because then you have the whole conversation with James Harden and the whole Rockets thing, and it's just does he opt into his contract? Does he opt out? It all depends. I just feel like right now it's the perfect fit for the Sixers to go into at least get to the Eastern Conference Finals this year.
They have to,
just
right?
because of how weak the West. How weak the East is. How weak the East is. It should be Sixers in the Eastern Conference Finals this year, 100%.
What are you?
Yeah, I think he
Beverly?
gets traded. I think he gets traded if they don't. If they don't.
Like no other team.
Trade as opposed to Doc.
Team.
No, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? I'm gonna keep changing coaches. I'm like, hold on, Ralphie.
No.
I'm not attacking you. I'm just.
No, I hear you though. I think you're absolutely right.
He's my favorite basketball player that I watch, and I can't
Something
tell you
else
how
has got to change. I think you're spot on.
It's time.
But
time to strike while the iron's hot. Because I've seen from Kyrie deals, I've seen from KD deals, I've seen sort of some things that have happened around the NBA where I can get back a shit ton. And you're talking about a guy who's going to be 29 years old,
almost quality,
still in his prime.
Return.
I'm not saying that's what I want to do. It depends on how it happens, right? Like,
would you also fire Doc?
If Rudy,
I'm starting the whole thing over.
Are you fully restarting?
I'm starting everything from scratch. I'm building around. I'm building around Tyrese Maxey per se.
Yeah, you have
right, and I'm just starting everything over. Tobias on the last year, his deal, that's easier to move, right? And I'm just moving everything. I don't want that to happen because I think, like I said, I think this basketball team is loaded, and I think they haven't gotten the respect. Sucks. They haven't gotten the respect because of past failures, and nationally and locally, they haven't really got the respect for the same thing. But they've gone under the radar.
Yeah.
There's literally only 3 teams in the East that can hold their own. And that's Milwaukee, that's Boston, and that's Philly. Everybody else, cool story. That's great. Miami sucks this year. Okay. If you're watching Miami this year, they've been terrible this year. They just picked up Kevin Love because they can't get enough scoring. Okay. Kevin Love's 45 on playing on one leg. All right. Another team, the Knicks. Whoopity-doo-dah. That's wonderful. They'll be out in the first round too. It's literally 3 teams in the East. It's Boston, Milwaukee, and Philly in the East.
Yeah, some of it's matchups. I mean, if I get Boston in the second round, ruh-roh, right? So, I mean, it all depends on some of it's luck too, as we've seen with the Eagles. Not like luck, absolutely. You're not good. Just luck, you get some good draws. We had that
right
good
now.
draw.
The season ended. If the season ended today, you guys are playing the Knicks in the first round. You're getting out of the first round. You might sweep New York, to be completely honest.
No, we've done that before.
Yeah,
so we've done the sweeping of first round teams and then coming up short in the second. So
you know what sucks though when you talk about in past years, we've always talked about Milwaukee, Boston, and how we match up against them.
But it's always been that though.
No,
those have been top two teams in the East for how many years now?
No question. Giannis, and when you talk about this season, I know it's a small sample size. I think it's out of like a 17-game sample size. The Bucks, when Middleton, Drew Holiday, and Giannis have all played together, they're like 15-2. I know they've only lost twice.
Yeah, I'm not worried about the Bucks. It's Boston that's the one that they don't beat.
No, we haven't. It feels like we haven't beaten them in 6 years. We
match up better with Milwaukee.
Probably just because there's less depth with Milwaukee. You and I have talked about this before. I just worry, not to the extent where like he's going to limit Joel to 1 point, but I think he's going to have a little bit of trouble with Lopez just because Lopez is one of the few guys that can actually keep up with Joel as far as strength. But if I'm doing gun to head, I would say Milwaukee's probably the quote unquote easier matchup of the two. It just sucks though when you talk about in past years that we've always had our eyes set for those top 2 teams, and we end up getting bounced for whatever reasons, whether it's not making free throws, whether it's broken faces, whether it's a mixture of both. We've gotten bounced by the Miami Heat, the Atlanta Hawks. You know what I'm saying? Where that's what's really screwed us in the past. And I understand when people say like, oh, well, you're using it as an excuse to where you're blaming it on extra things, but like they're not excuses, they're reasons. So the main thing, and we've talked about this before, Tom, like I wasn't a huge fan of what they did in the offseason. Like the PJ Tucker thing it wasn't much of anything. It was just like, oh, okay, this is going to happen. So it's not even really like worth like bashing the move. I just think you have so much talent to where you're built for the playoffs finally, especially in the half court offense. And when you talk about the depth, I'm sure you touched on this before I joined. Like your sixth man was George freaking Niang last year. Now he's like a specialist. He's like an 8th, 9th man. Like you have the ability of bringing Maxey off the bench if they continue to do that. You have, if not, it's going to be DeAnthony Melton. You have Jalen McDaniels, who it's not like I don't think he's like a superstar like some people on Sixers Twitter thinks he is, but it's nice having like a perimeter guy with length and athleticism that isn't Paul Reed and that isn't Matisse Thybulle, who like puts up 2 points a night. Like this guy can dramatically help you on both sides of the ball. So that's going to be good. I still like Shake Milton. You know, there's Will Barton things floating out there, which is interesting. So you have options aside from obviously what you've got in your starting five. And I think the most important thing out of it all is James Harden's, at least at the moment, he's clearly healthy. Whether it's he just flat out quit in the playoffs last year, whether it was the health, whatever reason, he's been anything but what we saw for about 85% of the first, you know, I don't even call it season, like portion of his Sixers career. So I do agree. Like I agree with what you said, Tom, to where it is about the matchups that, you know, if you don't handle your business over the next, 24, 25 games, you can be in a situation just based off of seeding where you have to face Boston or Milwaukee in the second round. And then you have a way more difficult path aside from what you said, Ralph, where it's like, oh, you've got Knicks and then maybe you've got Miami, who's like old and broken. That would be way easier. But I think when it all is said and done, if there's no broken faces or any, outside factors, I do think that they're built to at least get past the second round for once. So I'll agree.
Yeah, I mean, I think everything lines up to agree, right? I mean, I don't think Joel's ever played better in his career. I think although it's a different version of Harden, he seems to be, kind of as you said, right? He's at least healthy, and he's playing in a different form than we've ever seen him play. Right? He's no longer that. He's no longer that volume scorer. There's at times that when I'm watching, I kind of wish he would go back to that a little bit because I think his willingness and his thoughtfulness of getting the ball through Joel sometimes limits his aggressibility. I don't even know if that's a word. Aggressiveness. There you go. That's the word I was looking for. Sounded good. But that's not like that's an every possession type of thing. It's just here and there when you're looking at things. They absolutely should. If healthy, that there should be no reason. I mean, you guys have touched on the depth, right? I mean, you can legit now go 8-9 with legit pros, right? I mean, we talked about depth issues in the past, and we were looking at like B-Ball Paul is one of those options, right? And we were looking at Corky as one of those options, right? In past years.
Yep.
And sure that they had good spurts through the seasons, but when you get into the playoffs, you couldn't rely on them as much as you can, guys that have been there. When you look at, as we mentioned, Maxey, although he's young, Harrell, Niang now, as you mentioned, in different roles, right? These guys aren't first guys off the bench. These guys aren't expected to, especially come playoff time, expected to be impact players for long periods of time, right? When you get your 3-4 minute burst, go ball out and do that. And the other side of it is now that the Eagles didn't win, I got one less ticket to cash. And that's the Sixers NBA final. So I'm going to agree, even though my heart kind of tells me not to. Especially since it's been pretty much a kumbaya party. So part of me wants to disagree just because of that. But that ticket alone makes me have to agree. But I do think they are set up much better this year. And I think that run that they went through from December to January, which brought them from what at that point a 6 to 8 seed back up to the top of the Eastern Conference. Not that we were ever really worried. But now you can sit there and now you can finagle seeding to where you potentially don't see Boston till the conference finals.
Well, I think that's the way it would go down, though. Like, I think the way you change it is by beating somebody like that, right? When it's like, okay, we'll go into a second round matchup, versus say Boston, and you're like, okay, here we go again, right? And then somehow you win that in 7, right? That's, like any other hump and hurdle to get over, it usually ends in those types of ways where, like we talked about with the Eagles, I mean, not quite the same, but hey, this is our, our rival, right? And we get him in the second round, and we haven't been out of the second round, and we start thinking as a city, like, can we win this series? Do we have a shot in this series? And then, that's one you go win in 6 or 7, hopefully.
Samuel, I just want to clarify. Like, I don't think he quit, but I remember that was just something that was like floating around by like past players. I know Jalen. Not that we value Jalen Rose like he's the freaking moral compass, but in the moment it was like, oh well, he quit games like 5 and 6 after Joel Embiid came back in the Miami series. I don't believe so, but I just think the guy was freaking hurt and out of shape.
Yeah, I'm not going to sit here on. I love when guys can do that. You can sit on in your little studio and say a guy fucking quit on the court. Like, you don't know that. I mean, maybe he did. I don't know. You know what I mean? But I sure as hell, I can tell you a guy like Cam Newton quit not diving on a football, right? Like, I can tell you some obvious quits in your history watching sports. But to say Harden quit last year, I find odd. I find a little odd. And Jimmy J, would you shut up, dude? There ain't no excuses. If the dude ain't healthy, that's not an excuse anybody's making up for him. That's the facts. Like, he's not healthy. So you think any team is getting anywhere without their best player? Come on. I mean, listen, he's got to get over it. Or guess what? He's a failure. At 29 years old, going into a season where he's turning 29, he's no longer a top 5 player, because you're not a top 5 player if you can't get out of the second round. The NBA, you're judged by your playoff runs for the years of watching NBA. Now we judge it off regular season numbers. Get the fuck out of here. I'm not going to sit here and hold his hand, and that's my guy.
It's going to get, if they get bounced again, again, we don't know the reason.
Ugly.
It's going to get it's going to get really bad.
They're not going to. That's the fun part. You know what I mean? Because that's the fun part. We're not going to have this conversation. It'll be a conversation how they fail in the Eastern Conference Finals instead. But
it's how they get swept by the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah. So I mean, either way, we're going to get let down.
Sure.
It's just, I think it goes a little further.
Yeah, they'll wait until the last week in May instead of the second week in May.
Or you never know. Noah, agree or disagree?
I agree. I feel lighter.
Okay.
Let's see. Joel Embiid and the Sixers will finally advance to the Eastern Conference Finals. I agree. Would you like me to elaborate?
That's up to
While
you.
we're here.
Yeah, I guess.
Sure, why not?
Dynamite drop it, Monty.
I mean, they're playing good ball. I mean, of course, we've been let down many times before, and it's never too late for them to let us down yet again. But I think they managed to somehow pull through for a date with Boston in the Eastern Conference Finals, and well, our season will probably end in Boston somewhere in late May.
All right.
I mean, part of me wants to disagree, but I also want to agree. This team has greatly improved over the offseason. We got a better bench, and they're currently third in the East, still within striking distance of Boston and Milwaukee. Do I want to experience another second-round heartbreak again? I don't know. I do not know. I know the Sixers are capable in a pretty weak Eastern Conference.
You don't know why
they can make it to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Well, you said you made it seem like are you okay with a second round exit?
I am. It's the new normal around in Philadelphia. You know what they say?
Oh, no.
Bad things happen in Philadelphia. So I'm anticipating a second round heartbreak, but I do think they will make the Eastern Conference Finals. I do think they will.
Not to lump you in, Greg. You're fine. But what
Yeah,
the hell's going on with the bottom row? What happened?
I can become an issue real quick if we.
Well, listen. I'm not happy with the ticket reveal, the Vegas ticket reveal. I almost changed my answer, but
I don't have a ticket, so
no. You don't need a ticket.
I don't need a ticket.
Never mind.
I don't need a ticket because I got fine right all over myself. Okay. But with this team, I think they are capable of making the Eastern Conference Finals, and I think the only team that stands in the way, outside the Celtics, is themselves. They cannot, for some reason, if it's a Joel Embiid injury, either Doc Rivers' weird coaching decision, or whoever goes ice cold, they cannot beat themselves. So, they are capable. I agree.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think they can beat Boston. I'll say that much. And if we happen to not play Boston until the Eastern Conference Finals,
or you just got to hope somebody upsets Boston. I mean, that's the only other thing I could see happens. If somebody upsets Boston, but I don't know anybody right now in the East that could truly beat them right now.
Well, then everybody should disagree. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, you should feel like if anybody's going to agree to the poll, you should feel like you could beat anybody in a 7-game series, right? Because you could get Milwaukee, you could get Boston. You never know how it shakes out, right? You don't know. You could get one of those two teams. So we don't know that. We don't know that yet.
But as Jimmy J said in the comments, we do have Boston on Saturday, so it's a pretty good indicator on how this team's going to be against them come playoff time.
The next 10 days are going to be clear indicators.
Right.
But we also had Boston 2 weeks ago without 4 starters and Jalen Brown for the whole second half and didn't beat them, right? I mean, so it's a game by game scenario, right? You know what I mean? Like I mean, we weren't happy we lost that game, but that doesn't necessarily mean that coming up on Saturday, if we win or lose, then oh my God, now we're never going to beat them in the playoffs. You know what I mean? Like those games in the regular season, while they mean stuff, don't necessarily mean stuff when it comes playoff time.
We've been down this road. Yeah, we've been down. We beat everybody before. It's not like we didn't beat Boston ever. It's not, you know what I mean? It's not like we didn't beat teams and have great regular seasons. We've done that. You know what I mean, guys? We've been down that road. We know what that is. So, and we know come playoff time, the game changes, right? Slows down a little bit at times. Yep. But guess what? We don't have a loser here anymore. All right, we got rid of that guy.
That's a big factor.
And last year, is almost like a not count year anyway. Say it all the time. Like most teams aren't winning championships with deadline deals, like of stars, right? Like it doesn't usually happen. Like, Katie to the Suns, like they're probably not going to win the title, okay, this year. You know what I mean? It's more of a next year move. That's sort of what it is. So these guys can play together for a minute. It's not, you just don't hop on and you get it all figured out, right? It just doesn't work that way. And, last year, who knows how it goes if Joel's healthy in terms of getting out of the second round. But now, him, Harden, they played a lot of basketball together. You can see their chemistry on the court, right? You can see the unselfishness out of James. And the list goes on other guys. Like, is it perfect? No. But you could run. You come in, if your first unit's not playing great, you come in with a second unit that can change a game. Like, they have the ability to change the game. They got plenty of scoring. They got plenty of spacing. They can play up tempo on you. So it's a different type of unit. You're running like one's going to slow you down. One's going to feed the post. One's going to work from there. And the other one is going to try to get up and down on you. Yeah. That's the difference of the two units. So I like that dynamic because Doc likes using his bench, right? He likes it. He enjoys doing it. So if he has a bench to use, credit to Darryl right now, looks like, right? Credit to Darryl, but you got a bench to use, you can use it. Like we said last year, it was Niang was your best option. Now Maxey's your best option on the bench. That didn't shake, right? Then you're talking like Niang. So you're talking, you got 3 guys who can give you double digits easy. So, I mean, and you hope, hey, if the first unit isn't playing well, these guys can step in and give me some good minutes. So, I like it. I do like McDaniels too, like you said, right? Because he can't, I'm not telling you he's a great defender, but he's athletic, right? He can shoot it enough, and it's a good addition. You know what I mean? It's a good addition.
How long have we been saying in past seasons that the most athletic guy that we had on the team was either Matisse Thybulle or like our big man? You know what I'm saying? Like we had no athletic perimeter guys that could stretch the floor, like none. Now you get him, who at least he serves a role for you. And I think he can, like, again, like, is he going to be a difference maker in a playoff game? I hope it doesn't come to that, right? Like, I hope we're not depending on like Jalen McDaniels to come up big in like a game 6 in the second round. I hope to God not, because then I'm questioning what happened to the other 7 guys ahead of him. But just little things like that, like a key stat that we've always talked about. And again, stats can be skewed, but especially when we did our post games, for a majority of last season, Tom, what was the number one thing we always ranted and raved about after losses? It was our rebounding. It was how we got out rebounded to death by
transition defense.
Yes. So like that's something, and I think McDaniels is going to help a little bit, but again, he's just one guy. Something that's got to change over the next 25 games, and it's got to change in the playoffs, is their total rebounding, because they're ranked 28th in total rebounds. Like that's unacceptable. And I don't know if that's just like an effort thing, if it's a regular season, but I want to believe that. But then again, none of us have ever played in the NBA or played at that level, but like, is it as simple as to where, oh, it's the playoffs now, we're going to start rebounding like crazy now? Like that's the little things can cost you in a series against an inferior team. We've seen it happen numerous times. And that's what kind of made things a little bit worrisome, even in first round series, even though we've beaten, the Raptors, and I think it was 5. We beat the Nets in 5, the Wizards in 5. It's just those little things that have to improve, because you can kind of, what Joel's going to be if he has a non-broken face. You know what Harden's going to be, especially with how he can get other guys involved if he's not just your scorer. Tobias can do a little bit of everything. Maxey, I feel like he takes the biggest hit in the playoffs, just because everything switches to half court. Because you have a situation where he can more so be your offense in transition.
Is there ghosts in here?
Dude, what the hell?
What just happened?
I have no idea.
Oh, that didn't just happen for me? That didn't just happen for me?
What just happened?
I don't know. I see a bunch of screen change in here.
Oh, I thought that just happened.
Did anybody in the chat see that?
Oh, I saw it.
I don't know. Maybe it didn't like we talk about transition.
Wow.
Yeah. Maybe don't talk about rebounding.
Well, I'm going to go back to that because right, you talked about rebounding, and I think that does improve in the playoffs because the game condenses a little bit, right? And I think a guy that I know has driven people nuts all year is PJ Tucker. I think the playoffs are a perfect spot for him, right? Not necessarily to be a huge factor, but to use that experience, be that reason that you bring that guy in, right? You know what I mean? And I think a guy like PJ Tucker, when he gets to the playoffs, you get to have rest days. You know what I mean? Like you have rest days, you have the same common opponent, so then you can lock in on your defensive abilities, and then I do think it brings people closer to the basket, or at least on the offensive or the defensive side of the ball, to where we do hopefully rebound a little bit better. But I look at a guy like PJ Tucker as going into the playoffs as finally kind of cementing his role with this team. And I don't want to say cementing because obviously he's been there all year, but having more of an impact than he might have on a regular Tuesday night game, in Philly, right? You know what I mean?
I never understand when people go to Twitter or even on comment sections or whatever, and they rant about PJ Tucker. It's like, oh my God, he only had 2 points on 2 shots. It's like, well, yeah, that's what PJ Tucker is. Like he wasn't brought in to score 15 points a game. Like you'd be paying him a little bit extra than $30 million, over 3 years. The biggest difference between PJ Tucker this year, so far, this isn't a clean 100% storyline because there's still time for him to improve on it, and what he was in Milwaukee and Miami, is that he's having a down year in the corner threes. That's it. He had a really good season the last couple of seasons when shooting from the corner, and he's had a slowish start to that. That's all. Other than that, like he's not like your third main scorer. So if anyone expected that, I'm sorry, you're never going to be happy with him ever.
We got him. Yeah, we got him to be a veteran that's been there. He plays damn good defense. He's physical. It was toughness. I mean, let's keep it all in perspective on why that move was made. The move wasn't, that move wasn't made for instant offense. So I just think people are stupid. And that's what that comes down to. Like, I don't care about his box score. I got Joel, Harden, and Tobias playing. Like, how many shots is he getting off? You know what I mean? If he's shooting 10 shots, well, Houston, I'm gonna send you back, and we got a problem. So I mean, it can't happen. But I do think, like Greg said, in the playoffs, that's where that big three does come, right? And I think a guy that we're not talking about here, that's a real X factor that we didn't have last year, is DeAnthony Melton, because he's a damn good perimeter defender, and when he's on, right? So he gets going for a series, feeling good. That's huge for you, and I just think it depends on how you're going in matchups, because I still do believe that a guy like Maxey is going to get 30-plus minutes come playoff time, like he's gotten all year. It's not going to be like his minutes are going to get reduced and he's going to start playing 20 minutes a night. That's outlandish, right? You know what I mean? Same minutes in the postseason or same minutes that are in a regular season game or in the postseason game. The minutes don't get shortened, right? It makes sense. Like, you're still playing 48. So I got to get that somehow. Now because he's one of your better players. So he's got to play those 38 to 40 minute nights sometimes.
Well, I think especially when Tom, you mentioned matchups earlier. When you talk about DeAnthony Melton, aside from what he's given you so far on offense, especially from three, now he's, there was like a 2.5 week stretch where the guy looked like freaking Steph Curry. He was making everything from three. And that's when he was really, cruising in that starting lineup. And I think Maxey was still hurt then, so it's been a minute. But when you talk about the playoffs, say, for example, it is against the Celtics. Well, if you would have played the Celtics last year, because, say, for example, PJ Tucker is going to be going up against Jason Tatum this year, as far as defense. Last year, with your guard situation, you probably would have to have James Harden on Jaylen Brown. That's not ideal. Now you have DeAnthony Melton, who is somebody that can defend. I think that's really, really important. And then when you go to the Bucks, obviously, you could put him on Drew while Tucker I don't know if anyone handles Giannis, but could try to handle Giannis, I should say. But just that option, especially with some of the guards that you've got to face, not only in the regular season, but in rounds 1, 2, hopefully 3, and so on, he's going to be a big-time proponent just on defense. That's not even listing what he can do on offense, because there's nights where he can go, 5 for 7 from 3 and get you 23 points without even really knowing.
Yeah, this team's built. I know everybody, especially Jimmy J. He's over here blowing the Celtics, and I get it. But they haven't won shit. So, you guys over here just crowning them, not you guys on the show, in the chat, like, they haven't won shit. So they've gotten there, cool story. But their season ends the same way ours does. Disappointment. So before we start running around like the Celtics have hoisted trophies and shit with Brown and Tatum, I would knock it off, because the one team in the East that's hoisted trophies is the Milwaukee Bucks. So if you want to look at a team and say, hey, that's the team I should fear the most, then I'll wrap my head around that. I'm not going to sit here and go buy a goddamn freaking another big ass dog and walk around scared of Boston. I'm not. Because what happens is, when you shoot a lot of jumpers, guess what can happen sometimes? They don't go. So I know how good they are, and I'm not going to disrespect them, but don't come in here acting like that's a layup line for you guys either, because it sure as hell ain't. That's a battle. That's a dogfight. If you don't see that, you're not an NBA guy. All right? You're Homer hat. I'm not telling you the Sixers are winning in 5, but I believe that's a series that goes 7. I just do. And the best player in Game 7 is going to be the difference. So,
and you also got to factor in too, Tommy. You got a brand new rookie head coach. Who I don't even think has ever coached before. I mean, you know what I mean? Obviously he's been an assistant, but he's so young and so fresh out of the game. He definitely hasn't gone through the trials of being a head coach somewhere else at any level.
This is why I love when the ladies chime in, because they get it.
Well, absolutely.
Chiquita, I love it because it is so much better. It's not even close. It's not even, when I read the poll, I said, this isn't even close, because I agree wholeheartedly, because it's that simple. If you don't, I got to move Joe, and I ain't in the business of moving superstars, right? But the problem is, you're not a superstar if you can't get
can't
your
get over the hump.
team to the next level. You're not. You're not. I hate to say that, but come postseason, the greats, the stars. See, we're so quick in the NBA. Everybody's a star, right? You know, hey, fucking Morant, everybody's a star. No, you ain't. Like, you got to play in big time games, right? Not just second round games. You got to go to Eastern Conference Finals. You got to win in East before you can start saying a guy's a star. Like Tatum and Brown, star them all you want, because at least they got to a finals, right? They are stars.
Yep.
That doesn't mean the Sixers aren't good enough to beat them. That doesn't mean a team like Cleveland can't beat them. Like, come on. Like, that's disrespecting some really good basketball teams with really impactful guys that can take over a game. I'm not a Donovan Mitchell guy. I think he's a playoff loser. That doesn't mean he can't go for 50 and win you a series, right? I mean, come on. It's not out of the question for teams that you don't think the win. Like, I mean, if the Sixers are a top 3 team in the East, why can't they beat Boston? I think that's a tougher matchup for us than Milwaukee, because Milwaukee, Giannis wants to get downhill. Well, guess who's downhill waiting? So that's why Milwaukee, that's why we match up better against Milwaukee. We always have. Makes sense? I'm not disrespecting him.
We've always said that, yeah.
He's still going to get 30.
He's going to get his for sure.
Yeah, let me make it clear. But he wants to get downhill, and I got arguably the best perimeter defender in basketball waiting for him. Now, they had the same thing on their side, right? Joel was just elbow jumping you to death. But again, he wants to play down low, right? They do have the size to play with that with us, where the other side of the coin is, I don't think Boston does.
And it's we were screaming about it, in the moment last year, but as a couple of you guys brought up, like last season, not taking anything away from it, not just removing it and saying like, oh, it doesn't count, but it was a completely improvised season last year. From the stuff with the guy who didn't want to play basketball, to making a second-year Tyrese Maxey play point guard, to then instituting James Harden's offense with like 23 games remaining in the season, and then obviously have a broken face. Like, you have a lot of stuff moving around. But what's been like the main storyline for this season with the Sixers and their success? It's the Harden and Embiid pick and roll. That's something that wasn't even instituted yet. As crazy as that sounds, and this is why the team got some blowback last year, they weren't even running that last year in the playoffs. You know how important that's going to be just to have that as an element, let alone to the degree that they use it? Like,
chemistry is not a joke.
No.
Chemistry is a real thing. That's why you got to play together. You got to get used to each other. When Doc said this is a dictatorship, right? In the preseason, the James. This offense goes through Joel Embiid, right? Mm-hmm. And you've seen that. You've seen the players listen. Saying, come on, you are better than this. You are better than this. We're talking about, first of all, how many guys missed a ton of games this year? 1. All right. 2, Maxey just went to the bench. Like, we just got McDaniels. Come on, Sand. Stay with me. I know you like to. All right. I get what you're saying. You're going right to the stat number. Sometimes that ain't real. What's their bench in total points the last 3 weeks? That's what I want the answer to. Riddle me that goddamn number, because I'll guarantee you it's top 12. It's got to be. Who has guys coming off the bench dropping 20 plus all the time? Not many teams do. That's one guy, right? I mean, go back through it. How many nights has Maxey went to the bench that they have over 35 points off their bench? How many? Every fucking night.
We used to scream for 30 points from our bench, right, Tommy?
We would say we never lose.
Yeah, we used to scream 3-4 years ago. Give us 30 points from our bench total and we'll never lose.
Jimmy, I'm not saying it's not your time, my brother, because you guys are loaded, right? I'm not going to sit here and tell you it ain't your time. Well, you're in the way of our time, too. It's our time.
They've got guys like freaking Sam Hauser coming off the bench lighting up teams. So I'm like, oh, okay. We're going to do it.
Give me the last week. Somebody give me the last week of our bench scoring. Just
Frank,
the last week.
Pull it up, please.
I guarantee it's 30 plus
week?
every single night.
Oh, jeez.
Yes.
I mean, I can go freaking.
Last 5 games, Frank. Come on.
Last 5 games.
Yes. And
time's yours.
Give me one moment.
Philadelphia.
Why Frank's doing that?
Google machine.
Why Frank's doing that? Let's just look at. God, what were you saying, Ralph? You had something?
Oh no, I was just saying that The Sixers are 23rd right now in the league with bench points with 31.5. 31.7 points per game coming from their bench. I'm trying to find the.
Well, it's already 5 better than what Sad brought up.
Yeah, we're
So we're already trending in the right direction.
at this rate, in 5 minutes, we're going to be at first. I like this.
Right, it's funny you brought up the Joel and the Joel and James pick and roll and how it didn't happen last year.
Mm-hmm.
And what's so funny is deep inside is just a basketball purist. That's the easiest thing to do in basketball. That's like basketball 101, right? Like the give and go passing, the pick and roll. You know what I mean? Like
yes and no.
Pass and screen away. Like that's so basic that you almost like. Why wasn't that instituted day one? You know what I mean? Like just because of how dynamic both of those guys could be in that scenario.
Yes, but you're taking a ball dominant guy. And you're doing a pick and roll.
Yeah,
with it.
Absolutely.
So yes, it's so simple. You're right, but then it's not that simple when you're talking about guys.
Yeah.
How are they going to gel together? You know,
right.
is James willing to make? Hey, you take it. And now you see sometimes he ain't aggressive enough because he's like, here you go. He's like hot potato with him in a great way though, because he's been downright special in his distribution this year. Downright special. What was it, Frank?
All right. So the last 5 games by the bench. Courtesy of one StatMuse. All right. In the game against the Cavs, 30 points. Against Houston, 58 points. Brooklyn, 30 points.
That must have been Maxey's 27
Knicks,
pointer.
42, and Boston, 21.
Yeah, I'll be here all week. You know what I mean? I'll be here all week. I mean, there ain't even a fucking number. I got to go. Saying I don't even got to go to the Goog.
Don't go back 2 more games.
What's that average out to, Frank? Can you average that for me? I would love a good average. Love a good math talk right now. Guaranteed it's like 37. It's like 37 just off the top of my head.
Yeah, I was gonna say just under 40 because that 50 spot.
Burger, but then the 21 burger.
They even each other out. Yeah.
So I think you're high 30s.
We got a lot of mathematicians on this show.
I got hard as a rock when I heard the 52, and then the 21 came in, and I sort of
cold out. Todd, did you notice who that was against, by the way? Did you notice?
Boston.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, Boston. Yeah.
No, the Knicks was 40-something.
Yeah.
But no, Greg, to your point, and Tom, we talked about this in real time. Every time they lost, even times they've won in the playoffs, we came screaming on their post game saying they didn't even run an offense because each possession. It was either it's James's turn to dribble for 25 seconds or it's Joel's turn to go to the basket. It was a this or that. They were never playing off of each other. There was no ball movement. And they still get stuck in that at times, which infuriates the living daylights out of me.
That's everybody around the league, though, right? I mean,
sure.
You watch enough basketball, too. There's stagnant offenses. When teams aren't successful, they don't move the basketball. I mean, and we know as much as people around here.
36.2 average points in those 5 games.
Fucking mic drop. What did we say, 35, Greg? That was even above expectation.
35, 37.
I thought somebody was going to price us right and see
Ralphie
without going over.
Ralphie, in that ranking you saw where we were ranked 23rd.
Yeah, 23rd.
If you add the 36 over the last 2 weeks, where would we stack up? Like where does 36? The 36 bench points stack up in that ranking.
I'm gonna say top 12.
I
don't know if that's top 12, but I think since Maxey's gone there, they're definitely top 12. They have to be.
Yeah. And that's the other thing. People are getting way too consumed with this Maxey off the bench thing. How many damn times have we talked about this? It doesn't matter who's starting games. It matters who's closing games. Why do you think I did this tonight? In our conversations earlier. Why do you think I didn't open Eagles? Because the media in this city. The media city is a bunch of idiots. That's what it is. They're not, like the program directors are fucking morons. They're morons. Like they're flat out morons. There's been no Sixers talk at all. Come on, we're a major market. We got a goddamn superstar here. We got another top 75 greatest player of all time here, right? We learned something because they said, Maxey in the bench is a problem. No, Maxey with those guys doesn't know where he fits. You understand? You got to get the bias going.
You
Yes.
have to get Tobias going, and you can't get Tobias going when Maxey's in there. It's a log jam, dude. So what you do, the blessing in disguise was Maxey getting hurt because then Melton fit in, and Melton fit in like, right? Perfecto. So then they say, hey, guess what we're going to do? We're going to bring 20 plus a night off our pine net.
What was the number? What was the number again?
36.2.
That would put you at 11.
Top 12.
Top 11.
Top 12.
Right outside of
top
our
12.
right outside of 10.
Ralphie, just curious, who's the top 5?
San Antonio at 43, Indiana at 42.
Okay.
Who was the second one?
Indiana at 42.
Both teams stink out loud. Go ahead.
Clippers at 42.
They're low.
That makes sense.
Lakers at 39.
Stink.
And
goodbye.
Detroit's at 39. So all the
Stink.
teams that suck.
Where's Boston? Like 8th?
Boston is 21.
Get the hell out of
32.9.
here. Really?
Right now, Boston is 32.9. Sixers are 31.7.
Oh, isn't that interesting?
And that's we're missing.
Second worst bench in the league is Miami, 26.9.
How the mighty have fallen.
Where's
'Cause
Milwaukee?
in
Because
Miami's run,
Miami used to have a great bench.
yes, in their
Great
runs, they were loaded. They
Yep.
had a second unit come in
Yes,
with
they
like
did.
Jalen.
Yep.
Yep, not no more. How smart are you now, Spoley? Hey,
The league is Pat Riley. I think has finally realized that he can't completely fleece the league anymore and ask for ridiculous deals to trade assets. Like no, Pat. Utah isn't going to give 2 first-rounders for Duncan Robinson in his contract. I'm sorry, like that's just not happening.
That shit don't fly no more.
No.
Hills. This is where I try to help people. You know what I mean? I try to help people. We have talked Sixers this year. That is factual. Okay. On shows I've been on, I've talked Sixers plenty. Okay. But in the middle of Eagles season, when you're a 13-1 team, they take a back seat because it really gets going. It really gets going after Christmas, right? Now, what I'm saying to you now, right now, on today's date, which is February 22nd, all right? Any program director that wants to go backwards should get fired. And any program director that wants to be 4 hours of just freaking talk about the same goddamn thing and not touch on any other team in this city, that's ridiculous. That's agenda-based. Because that means you don't have the talent to talk about other shit.
When you go from not to your to Hills's comment, when you go from a World Series run to an undefeated Eagles team, then to a Super Bowl run, yeah, the Sixers are going to be third fiddle for a little bit.
I know you're just talking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I know you're just talking. It ain't no heat. What I'm saying to you is, it doesn't mean you don't talk Eagles. It means Eagles don't have to open everything, man. Like they don't have to consume us for a goddamn year. When something big happens, we'll talk about it. And we're going to talk about the Eagles in a few minutes here. We got about seven minutes left exactly of our Sixers conversation. And then we're going to segue because this felt good tonight. This was a cleanse tonight for myself. I know me and Greg talked about it jokingly, like, throughout the week, like, hey, I can't do Eagles. You know what I mean? I can't do it. I can't do it. And I almost fainted when I saw,
we're a Birds town, Tommy.
Sure, Noah, be fucking diverse. I'm a Sixers fan too. You know what I mean? Like, come on. Because then the guys ain't really 4 for 4.
I hear you.
You 4 for 4, honey? Or you 1 for 4? Where you stand, Noah? Where you stand?
I hear you, but if you ask a lot of Philadelphia, it seems to me over the last 25 years that, and don't get me wrong, this Sixers team has been by and large pretty damn competitive for the most part, generally speaking, over the last 20 years. More often than not, we would put a competitive product on the floor. All right, but it seems to me that for some reason, just pro basketball in this city, just I don't know why, but it just doesn't create the same kind of buzz that the Phillies and Eagles do.
No, I don't think it's that. I think what happened, the reason why it's a little bit quieter this year as opposed to the last handful, it's because, one, all of our players actually want to play for the team, so there's no running controversy. Two, you had the good, not bad distractions, good distractions of the other two championship runs. And also, and this goes to all of our conversations so far, we've seen what this looks like when you have a by far best team in the Eastern Conference during the regular season. And it's kind of like, okay, we're only going to get so excited about that because what does it amount to when it comes to game 6, game 7 in the second round? That's where it's kind of like everybody's holding their breath a little bit. It's not that people don't care. It's not that it's like, oh, they're in the same category as the Flyers.
You
I'm
can
not
say the
saying
same thing for the Phillies. You can say the same thing. There was a lot of excitement going into this year. There was a buzz for a fucking month. There was buzz for a month, and then it went away.
Right.
And then there was no more buzz because they weren't playing good baseball. So it's like, if you're not going to go to the postseason, I'm not going to keep getting hurt by it. That's what it comes down to for a lot of people. Now, I'll watch it, but it's not going to lead conversation. And any media company that's going to pass over Sixers and start talking about spring training baseball, I mean, rub some fucking baby powder on your jock, you loser. I mean, come on. Come on. I mean, I know, don't tell me, not you know, but in general, don't tell me the NBA don't matter.
I hear you.
The NBA All-Star game doesn't matter. There's like the NFL Pro Bowl doesn't matter. But don't tell me that NBA playoff basketball doesn't get you jazzed up a little bit. Doesn't make you want to go defend somebody. Like, I don't want to hear this. Everybody's looking for a reason to like not watch something and enjoy it instead of enjoying it. And that's what the society we live in now. Like, oh, the NBA's this, that, and the third. Like, okay, man. Like, I don't love every product, but I can tell you this. When the postseason starts, the product gets a little bit more old school. And that's the facts of it. In any sport. Come on, man.
Well, certainly, I mean, more defense is certainly played in the playoffs.
For sure. Just like in baseball, right? It's a little bit more like you might see a bunt. Right? You might see moving a runner over, right? You might see that come postseason time where you ain't going to see it in game 80. So, I mean,
let me ask you, Tommy, before I forget, let me ask you something. Speaking of a bunt and maybe stealing coming back into the game of baseball a little more, what do you think about the bases being a little larger?
It doesn't. I mean, it is what it is. I think they can steal more bases. They're trying to bring more offense. They're trying to bring more excitement, right? As much as they ran away from stealing bases, at the end of the day, that's exciting to watch. Like, don't act like when you grow up, Ricky Henderson wasn't exciting to watch, right? Like, guys who stole a ton of bases have always been exciting, right? Juan Pierre, Luis Castillo. I mean, the names just go on. I'm just rattling you off some speedsters, right? But, like, that's a fun thing to have. Like, guys on he's on second. You know what I mean? And then guess what? Ground ball. So it can work in both ways. Like the Phillies lineup this year was, hey, we're waiting for a Schwarber leadoff homer. When the numbers speak to the teams that get up 1-0 win like whatever, a high percentage of games. Yeah. Okay. But now that's on steroids now because now you got to get like Trey come up. He gets a hit.
Right.
He's on second.
And he has wheels on the base paths, correct? So I'm sure they'll have him running more.
But to your point, I think the larger bases, they hope, we'll get guys to attempt to steal bags more. Right. So listen, this
I guess they want to see more 7-6 ball games instead of 2-1.
Yeah, they're just trying to make it more exciting. So I mean, I get it. I get what they're trying to do for the younger generation.
And are they
whatever?
Quick question: are they doing the ghost runner again in the 10th inning or no?
Yes.
That's just for extra innings, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. Tom, before we switch, I do want to read this. So a bunch of people have been talking about how, the next 25 games for the Sixers. So of the next 25 games, they have to play them all within 45 days. 15 of those games are on the road. 8 of those games are against teams below 500. 2 games against Boston, 2 against Milwaukee, 3 against Miami, 2 versus Dallas. And you've got matchups against the Suns, Nets, Nuggets, Warriors, and Grizzlies. So
yeah, I mean, if they are who we think they are, they'll go on a 60% clip through that run. You know what I mean? If they are who we think they are.
And I think that helps them because a bunch of people are panicking, like, oh my God, they have the hardest schedule in the NBA. That's trouble. Like, yeah, like obviously we'd rather have like them face Detroit every other night. Like that's fine. But I think this will help them because it's not going to allow any complacency. As much as regular season basketball can matter at this point, because we know it's only a small sample size to what actually happens in the playoffs when everything changes. I think it's going to help them that they've got this stretch coming out of the All-Star break Therefore, everybody's healthy, everybody's rested, so you don't have that excuse of like, oh my God, well, we just need a breather. It's like, no, these guys had a breather. So you're going to see exactly what they have at their disposal. Then you have a little bit of a dip, and then they finish with a really tough schedule, I believe, in their last like 5 or 6 games. So I think that's going to help them.
Yeah, it's going to put you in playoff mode.
Wise.
Yes.
It's going to put you in playoff mode early, which
Yeah.
is not a bad spot to be.
Because you do have some, you're not tons of newer pieces, but you add another bench guy.
Yep.
You got to figure out some rotations. It allows you to do this in a competitive atmosphere. Like we don't want to play, Joe Schmo. We want to test ourselves, and that's the only way you get better. You get better by a Boston loss like you had. That can make you better, right? Then you can go back and say, hey, what do we need to do better, etc. Listen, I'm excited for this run. I do believe in this basketball team as much as people around Philadelphia want to always look for something negative. So Doc's a lightning rod for people. He can coach, okay? Like he can. So I just want that to be known to people. Like everybody walks around like, he don't have a clue. All right. Well, guess what? Brett didn't have a clue, supposedly. We ran him out of town, and when we hired Doc, everybody loved it. But now it's like Doc can't coach. All right. If they're healthy, let's see where they land. All right. Because I believe Doc Rivers is a very good head coach. I'm not going to tell you he's great, but he's a very good head coach. And he's a lot better than some of the alternatives out there, like the great Nate McMillan, who everybody loves and gets fired every other day. So, there's a reason that you can last that long. There's a reason you have that many wins, right? You are an NBA champion as a player and a coach, right? Like I was saying before you came on here, right? Like he's gotten over his humps, no matter how long ago it was. He's won. So it's on Joel now and Harden to get over their damn humps.
Yes,
Pick him up.
As crazy as his resume is, Doc Rivers has at least gotten past the second round a handful of times, right? There's some Sixers players that haven't touched the third round yet. That's a problem. We're not in the age where these guys are 23, 24. Oh my God, they'll learn from this. No, that was in 2018. We did that.
Who's the champions on your team? Doc, yep. Sammy. Okay, they're the champions. They're coaches. They both won. All right, as players. Well, not as a coach, Sam, but as a player. Okay, then you look at on your roster. Who's your winners? Well, Tucker's won.
Yep.
And who? So if you ain't going to listen to those three cats, who the fuck are you going to listen to? You know what I mean? So now it's up to, hey, Joe, hey, James, you guys are so great, which you are, okay? Time's yours. Time's yours. I know as a player what it takes to win if I'm Sam, right? You know what I mean? As Doc, same conversation. I knew what it takes for that Boston team to win. What do you mean I hated him, Beef? When did I hate Doc? I've never been that guy like running around just with my antenna up for Doc. I haven't. I'll be critical for sure, right?
No, Tom, I think you've always been somebody with the Sixers coaches that you've always been kind of the last person, not in the city, but in our group to really stand up for the coaches. So no, I think we've gotten arguments in the past where I think you've been a little too lenient on Doc. So no, I don't ever remember you being like, oh, get Doc out of town. I think
I just know how the league works.
Well, I think you've always, preached to the masses that players play. You know what I'm saying? And that the
NBA is so much. Players,
yes,
right?
Of course.
It's not like that doesn't mean good coaching doesn't matter.
It
just means
damn right.
but superstars win you championships, not coaches. That's factual. So ask Pop how many he's fucking got if he didn't have Duncan, Janobes, Parker.
Yeah,
so
I know,
everybody
right?
can miss me. Ask Phil. Phil, great coach. Ask Phil how life was without Mike and Kobe. He don't know how it fucking was. So it's easy to win when you got superstars, right? Like, okay, so who, like Spoelstra, hey, Eric, not saying you're not a damn good coach, but it's easier to win when you got LeBron, Wade, right? Like it's a little easier.
Bosh, Ray Allen.
He didn't win shit since they've gone. He got Jimmy and went to a finals. But Spoelstra, a great coach, but he hasn't won shit without great players.
You know what he's got? He's got a little Chip Kelly in him to where like, oh, any player can fit my system. It's like, no, 35-year-old Kyle Lowry who can't move anymore. No, he's not necessarily going to be your Dwayne Wade of 2022. I'm sorry.
Nick Nurse, the greatest coach in the world, he runs his guys into the ground. All right, he runs his guys 44 minutes and fucking night in game 40 of a regular season game. So this people miss me. You think Mike Bodenheimer, whoever the hell the guy is from Milwaukee, I don't even know. That's the point.
Budenholzer.
Okay, you're telling me he's great? No, he won because he got the best player in the fucking league. Are you guys kidding me? Who won last year? Golden State. So Steve Kerr's a genius? Get the frig out of here.
For the past 10 years, had the easiest job in all of America.
I've never been a Steve Kerr guy, ever.
I'm not saying he doesn't.
And Mark Jackson figured that one out. Mark Jackson, not to say he's a great coach, but just missed it by a year because he was just too early.
Oh, yes. Just.
So I guess with Steve Kerr.
I did see Nick Sirianni last night. Again.
Ooh. Yeah. Did you ask
him was Steve Kerr was.
No, I
did he get.
Go ahead now. Go ahead. I'll talk in a minute.
Did Kerr get all? He was on all 6 of those championship teams with the Bulls, right?
Yeah.
So he can thank Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen for those rings.
I think he was on the last 3. I think. He was
whatever.
Yeah,
and he won.
He was there for a minute.
He bailed Michael out. You know what I mean? He bailed Michael out on one shot. Oh, Jesus.
Well, you always gotta have somebody.
Yeah, Wouldn't LeBron DM you to say that, Ralph?
Probably.
Maybe.
What were you gonna say about Sirianni?
Well, no, I wasn't gonna I talked to him the one time, but it was bless you. It was good to see. You realize these guys are just like everybody else, right? And you realize that in different ways. Like I thought last night was cool because he was just watching the little guy, practice and get after it, and he moved his chair so he could soak in every moment of whatever he was doing, and I thought that was great to see. That he came in there, nobody was bothering him, everybody knew who he was, and then I just went over and gave him a pound, on my way through, and just told him, yo, thanks for a great season, coach. I said, yo, coach, that's what I am. Yo, coach, thanks for a great season, because he did have a great season.
Yeah.
Right.
And guess what? You miss I'm in the same type of line of work, but it's different. I don't get paid millions. But you Greg, when you're a coach and you're dedicated to coaching, it takes up a lot of your time. And that's not nobody's whining. We just, when you get the minute to go be there, when you have a kid on top of it and be around your family, and you see guys soak in that moment, it just makes you take a step back and realize, hey, like I say all the time, this ain't Madden, babe. This is real life shit. So, and these guys are real human beings. And if you think his face looked like my face, he looked still distraught by it in a way. Yeah. And then they walked out when they were done, and you saw him he gave his little guy a little bump, and they were laughing. And I thought that was a moment for me. You know what I mean? Just as a dad and as a guy who spends a lot of weekends gone, etc. A lot of hours going to coaching. So, not as much as he does, obviously. And it was a long season too, right? So
I don't know why he gets such a bad rap around the NFL by other fan bases.
Because he gives a shit.
Yeah,
because people get upset when a guy's gonna be like, let's go. What do you want? A coach with no fucking emotion?
Yeah, it's do they want Belichick
coach with emotion than no emotion?
Yeah, what? It's either guys.
Because the other fan bases are jealous, guys. Let's face it.
Of wins.
All right. I'll say it right now, and I'll be honest. I was a little hesitant when he first got hired here, but I'll say it now.
Damn right.
Yeah.
I'll say it now. Sirianni proved us all wrong. Now, I unfortunately, we didn't get the crown we wanted, and the way I look at it, it was a terrible ending to what was a great season.
You can't go. He didn't prove nobody wrong yet. Go back to the playoffs for a third straight year after a Super Bowl loss with a roster that ain't the same. Then you prove everybody wrong. Right now, you're on the course of proving everybody wrong. Now, no, if he cuts the Nets down 2 Sundays ago, then you prove everybody wrong. Go in there and don't prove nobody fucking wrong. Win and prove people wrong. That being said, you go to 3 straight playoff appearances in a city, and then one after a Super Bowl loss. That says a lot about you.
I think,
and I believe they will.
Look at Ron Rivera.
Yeah, I think it's really going to be interesting to see what Sirianni does. Does he hand the offensive play calling over to Brian Johnson?
Well, that's what he said he wants to do.
Yeah, he's doing that.
He don't want to play nothing. He wants to
It
do what
doesn't
he
mean
did
he's
this
not
year.
in meetings, guys. That just
Yeah.
means he believes, and I respect the fuck out of this. Okay?
I like that a lot.
Because so many guys got egos in the room, and they say, "Oh, he's done it. He did it." And when he gave it up is when they played their best football from 2 years ago. The second he gave up play calling and oversaw a football team, which is your fucking job, okay? They were rocking and rolling. And I'll say this: that doesn't mean it doesn't work when guys do it, but you got a guy in LA with the Chargers that literally is the head coach and the defensive coordinator. Buy a clue, collapse, because you need to be a leader of all men. You understand? When you're the guy and you're the head coach, okay? You got to be in every meeting. You understand this? You can't just worry about the offensive side of the ball. Why has Bill Belichick been great for years? Because he trusts what's around him.
Yeah, he delegates.
Do your job, and I'll do mine, and we'll be in great shape. And that's what every coach should do.
The fact that he's going to, and this isn't saying like Brian Johnson's going to be like the end all be all, but he would have had every argument and stance in the book if he wanted to take play calling back, because, okay, this is a guy who's never called plays at this level before. Like, we just got to the Super Bowl, all those things, right? And the fact that he's, of all signs pointing to he's just going to, continue to do what he's doing and kind of just oversee everything and not snatch play calling back, that tells me a lot about him. And I'm impressed by that, because, like you said, on that plane ride back from Vegas after they got embarrassed, against the Raiders, we didn't know where this organization was headed, both the fans and I bet the coaches and players also. And whether it's a coincidence, whether it's not, who the hell knows, but he handed play calling over to Shane Steichen and everything kickstarted from there. So I'm really impressed by that. The fact that he's not going to just take it back.
I also think that plays into now that emotional guy and that rah-rah guy that he is. Right, you can't be that guy that's bumping people on the sidelines and running up and down the sidelines, yelling at people in the stands and whatnot. If you gotta realize you gotta call the next play too, right? Because there's a clock going on. You know what I mean? And I think that allows him to not, as you guys all said, trust his coaches, but then allows him to be who he is and be that kind of fiery, that emotional, that guy that a lot of these players have talked about openly, that they enjoy, that they're friends, that they're quote unquote friends and they play for, right? That's a huge part of today's athlete and today's coaching, is you don't get the stoic guys that you did in the past, right? Everyone, I think everyone that gives him a bad rap is probably over the age of probably 40, right? If you had to guess, because they're the old schools at heart, right? They're the guys that are used to having your stoic guys on the sideline. I mean, me and Tommy are completely two different coaches within the same sport. You know what I mean? Like, I'm more of that stoic guy. Tommy's that big emotional rah-rah guy. There's no right or wrong answer depending on how your team, builds behind you, right, and plays behind you. Both of us have had very, very good success with different teams with our different styles. You know what I mean? It's just who you are as a person and being true to you. And I think that's what Nick does really well, relating to his players and being himself.
Absolutely.
Well, Greg, you hit on it. I mean,
passionately or calmly, whoever style you are, if your players believe you're genuine, they'll play for you. And that's the end of the day. At the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. Real quick, rapid fire, okay? Rapid fire, and then I'm going to go to the bathroom and we can read some comments, and then we'll go stay or go. But before we get into stay or go, all right, rapid fire, who's the defensive coordinator in 2023 for the Philadelphia Eagles? I'll lead you off. Vance Joseph. That's who I'm going with. I'll go to the easy layup line because I'm curious on who's got some sneaky ones. I think it's got to be Vance Joseph. If it's not Vance Joseph, to me, it's a fucking failure right now, because I need enough. I lost my offense and defensive coordinators. I got to go get a veteran. I have, on one side of my football, I have to have a guy who's had success in this league. I have to. 2-3 years from now, you can go with that younger up-and-coming guy, right? But it's not about the style or the system. It's about he's done it. He's had great defenses. He's had bad ones too. Players play, but whatever. I'll go Vance. They also had an 8, like a like a 5 or 6 hour freaking Zoom call too.
Yep.
Yeah, they had
it was
one-
4.5 hours.
I do love that they are
hours.
turning over literally every rock. I
That's what you
do
should-
like
Yeah.
that.
Good
Well-
organizations do that, right?
Yeah.
Greg, I think it's because they didn't expect Jonathan Gannon and Vic to both be out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And listen, they didn't rush into it and just be like, oh, Denard Wilson. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm glad they're checking every angle of this. I with no intel whatsoever, just me looking from way outside the box here. I just think they were completely they didn't think that they were going to be searching for a defensive coordinator outside of the building this year. It was either Gannon was going to be back or they were going to go to Vic. And I think it was going to be Vic left because as of 2 weeks ago, Gannon was staying. And it's like, oh, well, I can go because Jonathan will be back. Then he bounces. And now
Well,
it's
you
like,
just
oh, wait,
had-
both guys are gone.
You just had a guy fall into your lap. Jonathan Gannon going to Arizona allows Vance Joseph to be available. It's that simple, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like capitalize on that because you need a guy in here that guys are going to listen to, right? That's done it. I don't really love now. Leonard would have been a good name because he's played, so you'll get the respect as a player, right? But I don't like the college guy right now. I think that's bad fucking news. Not saying it won't work, okay? Hear me out, because people will circle back to me and say, you were wrong, Tom. I'm not saying it won't work, but there is the doubt. Will they listen to those guys right away? Will they buy into that guy right away? There's always that. And the 2023 athlete is a lot different than the 1998 athlete who will question you right away.
Ralph, you want to go? Or you want me to go?
Yeah, I mean, my top guy was Jim from Wisconsin, obviously, just because of the Big Ten defense, right? I mean, his stats backed that up when he was at Wisconsin. But I think right now, I think the way that it's going right now, and every report that they're having multiple Zoom meetings every single day, I'm gonna go Vance Joseph for mine. I'll switch it over to Vance.
I'll go a little different. I think, and this was before what happened today. I said this 2 days ago. I think it's going to be Glenn Schumann. I think it's going to be the Georgia guy. I think it's going to be they bring him in to kind of pair along with N'Kobe and Jordan Davis.
It's the fucking dumbest move of all time.
I hear you. I think that's
Kirby.
Gonna,
That's Kirby Smart defense. That's
Vance
Kirby Smart
is
defense.
literally-
Go hire Kirby
Yeah.
Smart. That ain't fucking. Oh, I can't.
I
'Cause
hear you.
that's
Vance
getting
is
cute.
literally
That's
the
getting
best
cute.
pick right now. Is the best guy right there. Best guy right there for you.
Listen, I'm not rooting for it. I just think that's where they're going.
Oh, I would like a Mike Zimmer too. That's a good
It's
name,
another good
Marshy.
name.
I know he's not like out there.
Yeah.
Ted, happy birthday, brother. It's your birthday.
Happy birthday, Ted.
Happy birthday, Ted.
Yeah. So
Happy birthday, dear
Right, just-
Ted.
Right, give it
Okay.
freaking. Yeah.
I'll go anybody not Seth Joyner. I'll start there. But no, I think with the news too that Leonard's kind of out of the running. I would have liked. I agree with you, Ralphie. I did kind of like the Leonard.
Little
The Wisconsin
Wisconsin
teams are always
yeah.
hard nosed, right? Always
Yep.
hard nosed, but
Their offense.
well,
Vance Joseph. I think Vance
he just
Joseph
got overlooked.
is the
He just
guy,
got
though.
overlooked because of the obviously Wisconsin's offense is just terrible. They're terrible every year. But their defense is always there.
Yeah.
Always ranks up in the Big Ten for defense.
Yeah.
Always.
But I do agree with Tommy. I don't know if he's still there, but I do agree with Tommy. I think right now, kind of the same wavelength of just giving it to Wilson too, right? Like you kind of got to get a guy who's done it before.
Yeah.
With the other one, right? If you went the heir apparent and the next coming for the offense, then you got to get me another veteran here on your defense, right? You can't go two kind of
newcomers.
unknowns,
Yeah,
right?
two
Unknowns,
newcomers,
You
right?
can't-
Yeah.
I wouldn't hate it, but it's not the most ideal, right? You know what I mean?
Fellas, I think you got to go Vance Joseph here. I get why they're bringing what's that dude from Georgia, Glenn who?
Glenn Schumann.
I guess I can see why they're at least interviewing him, but you can't go that route. You got to go Vance Joseph here. Get me somebody who's had success in the National Football League, doing the job at the NFL level. And I think that's critical here.
Rob's guy here, Rob Desai's a pretty good guy too. who had success in Seattle and Chicago too, when he had some talent around him.
Yeah, I mean, I think what we've proven, either at the coordinator level or head coach at any coaching level, you got to have the players to win. And I know I sound like Captain fucking Obvious here, but I mean, think about it. You just asked Bill Belichick, one of the greatest coaches of all time. Well, the last couple of years here, his rosters were very average. And what did they get? Very average results, and they missed the playoffs this year. So, I mean, what you ask Bill, what's life like without Tom Brady and without some of the other stars? I mean, I know some years it was the New England Bradys. In other words, they didn't have many offensive weapons, but what they did have some star-studded players on the defensive side of the ball. You know what I mean? And at least guys who fit their role very well and very good players. I mean, come on, we all remember, Teddy Bruschi at linebacker, back in the day. I mean, he's borderline Hall of Famer,
Yep. I'm trying to find it. I read this yesterday and I meant to screenshot it. One of the guys that they were either interested in interviewing or already interviewed for DC had coached with Sirianni before. He had a previous
Chris Shula, yep.
Oh, that was Shula. That's
Chris Shula.
Okay.
Yeah, if it's not
is that Don Shula's grandkid?
He is related to Don, yes.
Yeah.
Oh Jesus, here we go.
Yeah.
Oh my God, here we go.
I have a weird feeling it might be somebody like Chris Shula, knowing with being familiar with Sirianni and all that. If Vance falls through, I think Chris Shula could be up there.
Only reason why I don't think it's going to be Vance, I think Vance is going back to Denver. And I know
Rex hire somebody.
No, they're interviewing Vance.
Denver. I'm sorry, Denver.
He used to play there back in the early '90s.
Who?
Vance Joseph. Wasn't he a safety with the Broncos?
Well, he also used to coach there. He's their former head coach. He coached there after. Who was their head coach during the Super Bowl when they ran on that?
Nathaniel Hackett.
Yeah.
No.
No, it's the guy who was the head coach when Manning was there. Hold on, let me see.
Was that was it? I feel like it was. No, it wasn't John Fox.
Barry Kubiak.
Oh,
he replaced Kubiak. Kubiak retired, and then it was Vance Joseph.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think Joseph's going back there. I don't know. I think Rex Ryan stays on TV, and then I think we're going to be sitting here like, Glenn Schumann?
Chris Shula?
Ralph, who's your guy? What you call? I'm sorry, I just said Ralph. Frank, who's your guy?
I mean, I'm all in for Vance Joseph, but if not Vance, I'm going to go Chris Shula.
What is Chris Shula even doing?
He is currently with the Rams right now as their.
That's mercy.
Currently, he is the pass game coordinator and defensive backs coach. But all his career, it's been all defense. So he won his Super Bowl with LA. He worked with Sirianni in when the team was in then San Diego, and then had some experience with the college levels with Ball State, Indiana, and John Carroll.
I don't mean to go back and hash up bad memories, but I'll be honest. You know what hurts the most about what transpired in the Super Bowl? There is absolutely no guarantee that we get back there anytime soon. I mean, of course, it could happen. Yes, we still have many foundation pieces still in place. You know, you have a damn good head coach. You have what we hope will continue to be a quarterback that plays at a franchise level. All right. And he certainly has weapons in Smith, in Smith, Brown, and others. And, we still are pretty rock solid on the offensive and defensive lines. But, man, it's things change so much at the drop of a hat in the National Football League, and of course, you have other teams that are going to inevitably get better. Yeah, it might not be
a factor though.
Bill,
I'm sorry.
You're missing one key factor though, Noah. I mean, Howie Roseman's turned a corner as a general manager, and very rarely do you.
I'm not saying we're going to fall off a cliff.
No.
I'm
just
saying
I hear you.
Very rarely it's hard to get back.
No, it sure is. That's why it hurts, right? It's why it hurts when you kind of squander a chance. But when you have a GM,
it sure did.
When you have a GM that has turned a corner, is as good as he is, a head coach that seems to be on the right track of being a very highly productive head coach, and what you think, and I think we all believe, is a franchise quarterback. That's a good trio to start with.
Bill, definitely. And I think at the very least, I think we're a playoff team next year, even with a difficult schedule upcoming.
The NFC sucks. The NFC is like 3 teams, maybe 3.5 teams.
Mm-hmm.
Real quick, Bill, are you joking?
Yes,
I hope you're
joking.
Right?
He's joking.
I just want to make sure.
It's joking.
Okay.
Yeah, Don's in it.
He had his fun earlier.
Throws in Matt Patricia.
He had his fun earlier with his Celtics talk, right? He had his fun earlier.
Well, no, that's why I didn't want to just assume, because then I was going to check on.
Hey, let's throw in Billy Davis while we're at it too. So
I remember that asshole.
I just literally searched Corey Unlin too. Corey Unlin.
Well, why don't we bring Chip Kelly back while we're at it? Christ,
Greg would like it. Greg would like it.
Hey, we run it off.
Hey, Rich Kotite, anybody?
Let's see if he can have anybody run his defensive scheme. I wonder if that'll be fun.
I'll be.
What do you think? We'll have Seth Joyner as defensive coordinator.
God,
we can have Brian Dawkins as our defensive backs coach.
That's why I said last week. Like, can we not be the Flyers, please? Like, can we actually not pick throughout a pool of former players or former organizational people? Can we just realize hey, there's other teams with other players and other guys that have had jobs. We don't need to just keep going back to the same tree.
Yeah.
Right. Don't get me wrong. I love Seth, but
he's never coached before. I also love how too he's never coached before. I love how 2 weeks ago, no, I wouldn't even entertain it. Now all of a sudden it's I'd accept it on the spot.
He's been saying for 10 years how he has no interest. Now he's I'll take it in a heartbeat.
We know, Seth. We know. Yeah. Working with Barkan is a chore, and working next to Barrett Brooks is a chore. No, it'll be interesting.
Well,
though.
He's doing online stuff now, isn't he? With Jacob Sports Media or something?
I don't know. I don't watch any of it.
I'm sure they appreciate the shout out though.
They love it.
No. Billy, no, I'm good on Patricia. Thanks.
They'll shout us back someday.
Yep, I'm sure they will. No, I'm good on Patricia.
I would be intrigued though off of that tree on Jerron Mayo.
I like Jerron
I don't know.
They will never let him out of that building.
I don't know that again. That's going back to somebody who hasn't done it before, right? Especially at the pro level, right? He's just been a linebackers coach, so that jump to DC would be huge. But I do like the name.
Bill, I will tell you, sir. Patriots defensive coordinator.
I think it was
Bill. It's funny. It comes up. Bill Belichick.
He runs everything. It's like who runs the Lakers? It's LeBron. LeBron runs everything.
Let's see.
Who's the GM? LeBron.
Who runs the world?
Who's the owner? LeBron.
I know it was Patricia before he went to the Lions. I just don't.
Who's with Jeannie Buss? LeBron. Who is Jeannie Buss? LeBron.
What the hell are you saying? Never mind. You lost me. I think it. I guess it's Patricia, Bill.
I thought Patricia was doing the offense.
Patricia is on the offensive side.
They have 45 offensive and defensive coordinators.
And they're all run by Bill Belichick, so it's not.
Yeah, the defense. I mean, while they might have a defensive coordinator, it's really Bill.
It's really Bill.
While I'm sure they have a guy that's
his son was on it.
I think
his son's involved.
I think he's like a linebacker, and they obviously not the linebackers. I think he's like a secondary / special teams coach, which makes sense, with that mullet and that look. You know what I mean? Like that's a special teams kind of guy. Someone who's a little looks upstairs a little
Belichick.
bit.
He is the outside linebackers coach.
Oh, even better.
Yeah.
Outside linebacker. Like you're that
outside
specific.
Linebacker.
To get
right now, they don't have
outside.
Right now on their website, they don't have. Yeah. They do not have a defensive coordinator.
Yeah,
I'm looking at Patriots.com.
You guys want to get in a stay or go so we can finish that?
Fine.
Because I don't know about you, just talking about this team again, I've just had a wave of pain going back. As soon as Noah brought up 2 weeks ago, I'm just like, oh my God. I'm like, can we just forget about that? So thank you, Noah.
I'll stay or go.
Anytime.
I guess.
Misery loves company, brother.
Stay or go, brought to you by our doc, Make Him Yours, Dr. Paul Vidal, Specialized Physical Therapy, LLC, locations in Burlington, Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Find them on the web, specializedphysicaltherapy.com.
Okay, so we will start out with Javon Hargrave.
What is this? What we think's happening, or
we get to a little bit of both, a little rapid fire of both.
I think he's gone from a team aspect, and I think he's gone because I don't think you're gonna fork up that kind of money for a 30-year-old defensive tackle. So I think he's gone.
It's a go for me for both. Go for me for both. Sucks to see, but
I too also think it's a go for Javon. As much as I would love to have him back, I just don't know with the cap situation.
And just for context, it says his market value on Spotrac is 3 years, $60 million.
Yeah.
He's gone.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to, if you got tricky with it, use a franchise or a 2-year deal. Right. Yes, but no, I think he's gone.
Yeah. Unless Howie pulls some kind of miracle, but
yeah.
I'd love to keep him on a 1-year deal, but he'll take a multi-year deal elsewhere.
As he should, right? He's earned that.
Yeah.
No, of course.
I could see him going to Arizona, to be honest, if we're being real. I could see a couple guys following down in there.
Yeah. TJ Greg's son going over to Arizona.
We'll get to that when we get to his name. I'll go. I want Javon back, but at that price, you just can't. You can't. You have too much other things you got to do. Fletcher Cox.
Gone.
Thank you for the memories.
Stay.
You want him to stay, or you think he's staying?
Both.
I
think he's that one veteran that I don't think he's going to break the bank to bring back. I think he understands his role. You know what I mean? You could do a 1-year deal going out here for him.
Market value is set at $14 million per.
It won't be that.
What do you
for Fletcher? 14
He's 32, 33.
2 years. I'm just reading what's on Spotrac.
No. I hear you.
Yeah, 2 years. 2 years, 28 is what he's projected to get on the open.
Yeah, I mean, if it was a cheap 1-year deal, sure, you know what I mean. But I don't think it's going to be that. That's why I think he goes.
Yeah, I think he goes, and I don't want him back unless I can get him under 1 year, $8 million, which I don't think is happening. Did everybody go?
Yep.
I did not go. I think he goes, but yeah.
Okay. Brandon Graham.
I think Brandon stays.
He stays. Yeah.
Stays.
100% stays with us. He ain't going nowhere. He's definitely staying with us. He ain't leaving.
Frank, no, would you guys go?
Believe it or not, I think
I
this
said
is a
stay, yeah.
tough one. I'd love for BG to stay, but that's going to be a close call. I think he ends up staying, but I don't think that's a slam dunk.
So his market value is 5.7 per. Yeah, you bring him back.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
Yeah,
that's
I think
reasonable.
he stays.
I 7. That's crazy.
Especially if if everybody and I don't necessarily think anyone's wrong. If you think Fletcher's getting that much, then you got to bring back PG. I just worry that we lose too many, especially the veterans, that we lose that locker room presence. You know what I mean? So that's where I think, like, okay, if you don't sign Fletch, then you got to sign BG, and kind of vice versa, right? You know what I mean? So I say yes.
James Bradberry.
Gone. Bye-bye. See ya.
Yeah.
And that Giants comment, and before the Super Bowl really triggered some alarms. All right, I don't need that before the biggest game of the year. All right,
Agreed.
I'd like to go back to the Giants. They offer me something. Fucking biggest game 2 days before your biggest game of the year, and we're talking about the Giants. That's crazy. Bye-bye.
Yes.
I can't deal with that no more.
Anyone want to guess what they have projected at his market value?
$15 million a year.
17.
A lot.
Correct.
No, I thought we were going to price this right.
3 years, 15.
I'm
3
good.
years, 15.
I'm good. I'm good for
Bye.
a second corner.
We got plenty of draft capital. We can draft his replacement.
Yeah, or just go trade for one out in LA.
Yeah, I'm going for Jalen Ramsey and Joey Porter. I'm good with those two.
Yeah.
Or Devin Witherspoon.
Yeah, don't matter to me.
Yeah, just not $15 million a year for second cornerback on the roster. Jason Kelsey
Stays. One more year. This is his last year.
If he comes back, obviously, I'm keeping him. So
yeah, this one's his decision.
Hey.
That's the thing. Like if he plays, he's here. If he
I think this is his final. I literally legit think this is it. I think he comes back and this is it.
You don't think Ralphie they'll draft another center?
No, we probably will. We probably will, and then he's probably gonna be a gadget guy that can play guard and center. It happens every single year. But I think this is Jason's last year. I think it's done. Well, like coming back for one more, then he's done.
Everybody,
if we would have won the Super Bowl, I think he's done.
Yep.
Sure. Okay. TJ Edwards.
Stay.
Think he stays.
I think he goes.
I could be dead wrong.
What's his market looking like?
4 years, $11 million per.
Not much.
For a linebacker, yeah. I mean, I'll give it to him. Played his ass off for the past 2 years.
I want him back. I'm just wondering if a team, again, maybe out in Arizona, will overpay for him, and then we're going back as an organizational thing where it's like, okay, we do not even slightly overpay for linebackers. I think he's back regardless, just because of what we talked about before the year started on how everything in the locker room says that it's Brandon Graham and TJ Edwards is like the two leaders in that locker room on defense.
Yeah, he's your signal caller. I think he's back. I don't even think that one. I think that one's pretty easy. I think the next guy out there is the harder one.
I think the only way TJ goes is that they have enough confidence for Nakobe Dean to wear the green dot this year and be the play caller on defense.
I'm just wondering,
linebacker.
I'm just wondering if TJ goes, you're gonna have to find another, I guess, Kaiser White in free agency to play.
Yeah, another guy on a 1 year deal, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
Which is not impossible. I mean, there's a million Kaiser.
Right, there's.
It's not.
Or you just keep TJ and you just slot Nakobe next to him.
Yeah, it's not like it's not like Nakobe can't play there.
I love that way better than letting TJ go, making Nakobe Dean the single call, the guy with the green dot, and then signing another guy on a 1 year deal for like $3 million.
I'm
fine with TJ staying and just sliding Nakobe next to him, and then you're good to go right there.
Yeah, and he's a better pass defender than Kaiser White is.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%.
I think he fits into that slot good, and you're not essentially losing two guys.
Yeah.
Isaac Siamalo.
Gone.
He's gone if Kelsey's back. Okay.
Mhm.
If Kelsey's back, he's gone, and Jurgens will play guard. If Kelsey decides to retire for some reason, I think Isaac's back, and I think Jurgens is your center. Obviously, I think you can't listen. You got to let things go, but you can't lose everything.
Yeah,
and that's the fine line here. You can't get sentimental. We did that, and we ended up winning 4 games, right? So the last time around. So Howie's obviously going to learn from that, right, on some of these decisions. But I think that one's another layup line if Kelsey's gone or stays. I think that sort of it gives you that answer right there.
I think he's going either way. I would love
Why
it.
would you say going either way?
I think there's going to be a team that
they value it.
say it again, Tom?
They value it, and they're going to lose their center and their guard.
I think there's going to be a team or teams out there that are going to give him way more than he's actually earning. I think he's going to get outpriced. I listen.
Maybe.
I don't want him going. I just think it's going to be something where he just can't compete with.
He's not like he didn't go to a Pro Bowl. He's not like a first or first team All Pro. Like good year, but not. I don't know if somebody's going to break the bank for a guard. Now, if he was a tackle, then I'll buy into somebody spending way too much. The fact that he's a guard, I think, gives you a little bit more wiggle room. Doesn't mean somebody won't go $2 or $3 million over value a year, but I think we would too if we lost Kelsey. That's the only thing that's the only way he's back. You can't lose your starting center and guard. You can't.
I'm looking at his market value. It's 12.1 a year, and they're like looking at 2 years, 12.1 per. I mean, it's doable, but I think somebody's going to overpay for him.
Maybe. I'm not saying like it doesn't happen. I just think the Eagles, some guys are good staying where they're at too, right? So, if you're giving them close to value, it's all up to Kelsey. I just can't lose my center and my guard.
No, it's definitely tough.
And then expect my quarterback to have a good year again. I think people out of their fucking minds. Like they value the line. They're going to spend money there. If they value a guy, they're not going to let him walk out their door. They're going to let Bradberry walk. They'll let other things walk. They are not they'll let TJ walk before they start losing all their linemen. You know what I mean? Because they would sacrifice other things.
The Eagles live by the trench and they die by the trench.
And you can't tell me about their picks. You can't draft a rookie guard and expect him to come in. So they got a second-year center who's never played, and you got a rookie guard. Oh, God damn it!
That's a disaster waiting to happen.
Good luck, Jalen.
That's a disaster waiting to happen
all year.
So would you say that Siamalo, again, it's all depending on Kelsey, but just based on the uncertainty with Kelsey, would you say Siamalo is the second most important guy you need to bring back this offseason just because of the unknowns on how it affects the line?
Yeah, well, Jason's your number one, right? And then because you still got to sign him. You know what I mean? It's not like he's still owed money. So Jason's your number one, and then outside of that, I think it is Isaac, and I'm not overvaluing him. It's Isaac's number two. If your number one doesn't come back, that's where Isaac slots in at number two. Now, if Kelsey's back, Isaac's not on that board of like a must keep.
Yeah,
it's weird, right? It's weird.
Yeah,
that's why I'm not trying to rush chasing Kelsey, but it would be nice if Kelsey comes out sooner rather than later and tells people what he's doing.
At least by the 13th of March would be nice.
Yeah,
I would think he would. You know what I mean? I would think he'd be good with that.
Another Instagram video with him cracking a beer saying I'm back. I would love that in the next couple weeks.
Or he's probably going to like drop it on New Heights with Travis or something.
Whatever he needs to do, just sooner rather than later, please, for all of our sanity.
Yeah, I think he's back. So,
Jason.
Yeah.
I do too. I think this is an easy one. Kaiser.
Gone.
He's
gone.
Here's a question because we all know both. What the team's saying, he's going to be back. CJGJ, do you think they're going to sign him, or do you think he's going to be back on a tag?
Well, they don't really tag. It's not their thing. We talked about that a few weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's not their MO. It hasn't been their MO. I think the only way they tag is if they can't get a deal done, but I think they're going to get a deal done. I don't think it's going to come to a franchise tag unless there's some hardball going on, that we don't know about, and they're forced to tag them. But even under that understanding, I still think that they would get a deal done before the start of the year because they're not in the business of franchise tagging.
His
Because the tag isn't always cheaper. It's just 1 year, right? You know what I mean? Like, the tag isn't always the cheaper option. Like,
it's just like a Band-Aid.
The cheapest option would be to sign him, right? You know what I mean?
Well, his
and
market
back
value.
in that.
His market value. He's projected to get a 5-year, $66.6 million contract.
Yeah, 5 years, 70. Call it a day.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, but Will,
half guaranteed.
Bill, who's your other guard though? Because you're still gonna have to have a rookie guard on your other side.
Probably draft
the only thing. Round. Yeah, I mean, the only thing you can think of is obviously we you know, to this comment and the conversation we had earlier, you know, what do they think about the in-house guys that are still here, like your Driscolls, your Opetas, right? Huh. Do they feel like as the guard, are they just as serviceable as Seumalo, right? You know what I mean? Like in that scenario where you might not have the money to bring them back.
Well, Juergens better be a first-team All-Pro then.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
I mean, if you're like not, you know, if you're lining Driscoll up next to him, he better be a first-teamer or a second-teamer. You know, and I don't know how good of a pass blocker he is either. So, I mean, that there's a lot of reasons. Nobody wants to hear it, but there's a lot of reasons why I'm not giving my quarterback $50 million a year yet. There's a lot of reasons, and nobody likes it. Nobody wants to hear it. Everybody's saying, Tom, how dare you? Fuck, I'll get it done halfway through the year. That's cool. That's cool. Well, you're not going to show up. Because guess what? He's got a female agent. So if you think he's taking $1 short, you're all crazy. You're all fucking crazy. She ain't going to let that happen. Are you guys, not you guys, but like people out there thinking hometown discount. Like, it ain't happening here.
It's not his hometown.
Yeah, so why not allow him to play half a year? Where does that hurt you? It only helps you as an organization. Because if he's lighting the world on fire and your roster isn't as good, right, Ralphie? Right? Then you say, okay, how much you want? Now, if he's not, God forbid, then guess who holds the goddamn leverage? This is a win-win no matter how you guys want to slice it. It's a win-win to allow this situation to breathe. You don't got to pay somebody the year. You got a year left on your deal. What do I got to pay you for? Because you went through a Super Bowl? Cool. Go to another one. And then I'll back the brink up. Not a shot at Jalen. That's just me being a businessman and caring about my football team moving forward. Because God forbid he gets hurt, right, guys? If he gets hurt, then guess who holds the cards on that next deal? You do.
Yep.
That's a win for us.
And he's currently under contract, so there's no rush.
So you're going to hold out? Oh, you're going to hold out as the leader of this football team?
Yeah.
Then you just tell me a lot about you, which I don't think he would, right? But you learned something. You learned something. I know guys don't want to play on a one-year deal. I don't give a shit. It ain't my job to ain't my job to rub your balls because you had a great year, but you still have money. You still have a year left on your deal. My job is to rub it when it's over or halfway through when I still have control of you. You think he's not going to take more money here because you didn't do a deal with a year left? So when you do back the brink up, you think he's going to turn it down because he feels a certain way you didn't do it early enough? Get the frig out of here. Get out of here. Get out of town. Get out of town. Hold the leverage. You hold the leverage as an organization. Go prove it again. Go do it again because this roster is not going to be as good as last year. That's factual, guys. That's just the way this league works.
Yep.
So prove this. You can go back to the dance. That's all he's got to prove. You don't got to prove that you're going to win 14 games, right? Or go to another Super Bowl that following year. But you better go win a playoff game, right? Yep. Go prove it. That's what franchise guys do. They go back. And if a little bit is on their back to do it, then it proves to an organization, let's go.
You saw Burrow do it.
Yeah, what's the harm?
Yeah.
And God forbid he gets hurt, right? God forbid. Like something a year ender. In a crazy way, then guess what you got? Then you're not paying $50 million a year.
Yeah.
You're not paying it.
Or if you are, it's in the back half of that contract once he gets healthy again.
Yeah.
Right? And it buys you a couple years of cap flexibility because those first couple years potentially are a little lower because you're coming back from a season-ending injury.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, we got plenty of time to talk about that one. I know there's like hoopla about it. It's got to get that. You got to set the market before somebody else sets it. Get the frig out of here. Get the frig
Every
out.
quarterback from here on out is going to set the market, so it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Everything, it changes every year.
Yeah.
Every freaking year it changes. It goes up 10, 20 million, the cap.
Well, yeah, I mean, 40 boy, appreciate the super chat. Seth Joyner, love you. And I agree. I love Seth. But we got Jalen's back at A2D. Did we love the pick? No. But we love winning football. And that has been Mr. Hurts. He is Philly. I couldn't agree more, 40 boy. So we were supposed to be ecstatic about the pick when we just signed the guy to $100 million. Get the frig out of town. Get out of town, Seth, because you didn't like the pick either.
Yeah.
All right. And you don't like nothing. And I love you, but you don't like nothing. You're the most negative podcaster, per se, right? Analyst there is in the city. So miss me with anything not negative, Seth. Come on. I watched you in 2017 be negative after every goddamn win. Every win on the post-game show. Oh, I don't know. Hold the Lombardi, Seth. And you come on anytime, and I'd love to talk to you. You're an all-time great here. Love to talk to you. Don't start assuming shit, because I'll go scrub you up. Let's go scrub Seth. What did he say that night? Guaranteed he asked what they're doing.
Oh,
What I ask?
I think we
What
all.
are you doing, Howie?
Everybody did.
Come on.
You just signed $100 million. What do you go? We're going second round here.
That's funny.
Miles Sanders.
Not gone.
On. And you have a very
He's
loaded
gone.
running back class in the free agency.
He's gone.
And I don't touch any one of them. I don't sign any of them. Draft.
I ain't talking free agent running backs. I don't touch them in free agency.
No, ever.
I'm
Ever.
Gooch. Bye, Miles. Unless you want to stay for like $4 million.
Yeah, I hate to say it. I appreciate his efforts, but yeah, bye-bye.
Only free agent running back I'm
What's his
touching.
Just
1 year
curiosity?
7. 1 year 7.
6-7 million.
Yeah. So he's got it at 2 years, 14.4. No, I'll give you 1 year 5.
I'm in. I think he goes, but I think he goes personally though. I think he would sign for a 4 or 5 year deal to stay.
Yep.
You know what I mean? 2 for 9, 2 for 8.
You guys saying
and
that,
to
I think
where
he's back.
I would.
I'm taking my stance back. I think he's back.
I would take him back
For that kind of money, I absolutely take him back. And then I just draft the guy. Then I draft the guy later on
100%.
to replace him. You know what I mean?
Because
Nobody's
in reality
gonna give him
too,
big money.
I don't know if the name's on the list, but the only running back you have signed is or that has played this year is Gainwell, right? So Miles and Scott. I mean, are you gonna? You obviously can lose them both, right? They're all the running back room is a dime a dozen. We know that, but like for a cheap deal, I'd take them back.
Gut feel and rapid fire for everybody. If it comes across our phones in 5 minutes, Miles Sanders back. And the contract states 2 years, 14.5 million. What's
I
your
got a
reaction?
problem with that. I got a problem with that.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Okay.
I think anything over 12.
I was going to say 2 years, 12. 2 years,
I'm
12.
good there.
Oh, I'm easy. 2 years, 10. You didn't prove shit.
Yeah, I don't.
I mean,
that's
that
5 per. I don't
you're
go
right.
5 per.
100% ideal there. Yes,
The biggest
210.
game of the year, you got hurt.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, come on, man. Like, nobody's giving you money. The last time people saw you, you laid an egg.
Yeah.
Per se, right? So it's not a shot at you.
That's the
Miles gonna
ideal
tell
number.
me I don't know
You're
football.
100%.
But everybody watched that game. Where were you? So that lowers your value now. Who's giving you big money coming off your first deal as a running back in this league? Who's giving you big money? Nobody is. That's why he knows it. That's why he posted what he posted to Instagram. He ain't stupid.
Well, no. Well, honestly, the thing that could end up screwing him is that his former teammate Saquon, if he hits the market, everybody else's money lowers. Because that's one guy that was never supposed to hit the market.
Yeah.
This isn't a running back free agency class where the best guy is freaking Todd Gurley from 2 years ago. No, it's stacked. Like Josh Jacobs is like the fourth best, free agent running back coming off of a career year. And again, it's not about the fumbles. It's not about the dancing in the backfield. It is, but it's about the guy hasn't stayed healthy. I can't give him any guaranteed money when he hasn't been able to guarantee us health and availability. That's it. It's nothing personal. If Gardner-Johnson was locked in already and Javon was coming back and our O-line, we knew 100% what it was going to be the next 2-3 years, then sure, I'll give a guy a couple extra million because of his upside and what he could do at times and how he could change a game. But not in an offseason like this. No.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I think, obviously we know what this offensive line and what this quarterback does to the running backs, right?
Yeah.
And the running game, right? It enhances it so much that you could plug anybody back there and you probably potentially could get a better year than what Miles gave you. Now, I think Miles had a really good year. He was healthy for 99.9% of the year. Just happened in the last game, right? Which is always the kicker. But yeah, I mean, I think anything under that 12 number, I think I'd be okay with 10 being that ideal.
Bill,
I'd love to have him back. I just don't think he comes back.
Bill asked in the comments what Kareem Hunt's looking for. His market value is 2 years, $14 million.
So same thing.
Yeah.
And I'd rather, I don't know. I think Kareem Hunt's a better running back. Let's see. Go
Gentlemen,
ahead,
I'm going to call it an evening. Have a good one, all right?
All right, see you, Noah. Have a good one. boys.
See you, brother.
Take care, boys.
Let me just see if there's any other notable ones. We don't need to do like all of them, obviously. We talked about Gardner-Johnson, Epps, Marcus Epps. Anybody?
Does he have market value?
No.
The only thing is I don't think he's due for a huge raise. So it's like, why not? Right. But it's not like a priority. You have Blankenship back there.
Yeah. I mean, I try to bring him back.
I'd bring him back.
Why not?
Yeah. It's looking cheap. Yeah.
But other than that,
he didn't kill us, right? So it's not like
he
didn't kill us, and he never hurts to return another starter.
Other than that, Boston Scott's market value, he's projected at 1 year, $1 million. So
bring him.
Would all do that.
I think he's back if Miles isn't.
Yep.
Yeah.
Familiarity, right? But they're not going to bring everybody back, and they shouldn't. I'll leave it at this. I like the fact that I lost what I lost, and I want everybody to understand this. Like, I'm good with Shane going. I'm good with Jonathan going, because it's hard. It's hard to go back with the same thing after a loss, right? It's hard to do that again. It's hard. So I like some changes, some different voices, right? And I like some new players too. Some fresh blood to bring in, right? It's okay. It's okay. But if you get into that, if you run into what you did after 2017 and you start giving deals based on loyalty, you're going to run into problems. So you got to be careful. It's got to be the right guys, not everybody.
And Tommy, to your point, the other thing that changes too when you lose kind of both guys is your tape too. Now your offense is probably going to be is somewhat similar, just because your quarterback's going to dictate that. But your offense
are different.
But your offense is also going to be the most put together piece, right? Half of these free agents we're potentially losing are on the defensive side of the football. Yep. But that's also where you're potentially getting your fresh blood, right? So now you get fresh blood, fresh tendencies, fresh tape. You can't like anybody we play next year can't go watch our film from this past year and go, okay, hey, this is what they're going to do when we have when potentially Vance Joseph is now our defensive coordinator.
Yeah, what's he going to do with this group, right? It might be different on what he's done
now,
with
what's
other
he
groups.
run? What's he run? A 3-4, right? Vance does.
Yeah, I think he does.
I think so. Let me look. I thought
he might have some hybrid too. It's hard to go back. So
yeah.
My expectations aren't like right now, like Eagles are going back. There's a lot to unpack through the next few months to find out where this football team stands. So,
Frank, you have that list ready so we can start jotting them off here?
Let me make one quick adjustment, and before I do my share screen real quick. Type in all the numbers. Right now it's in the table mode.
Bill,
And once
receiver.
we're all done,
Yeah, we need
I
a
will
3.
make the necessary change. I will make the necessary
We need a
changes,
solid 3.
and we will make it all
want
fancy
DeAndre-
schmancy. Add some pictures.
You want DeAndre Carter back, Ralphie? He's a free agent.
Oh my god. Jeez.
I actually think he'd be better than
Alright,
Quez Watkins, and
see.
at least he could be a returner. I'm not like vouching for DeAndre Carter. I want to make that very clear. I'm just saying that's how low the bar is when you've got Zach Pascal and Quez
All right,
Watkins.
I'm ready to share. So
He plays. It shows he plays a lot of cover too, but he does a lot of exotic different things. I'll keep on that for you, Ralphie.
all right. I got my list ready. Oh wait, I'm not supposed to put on this document.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that is not the right document.
What the hell is happening?
Oh my god.
What the?
All right, let me change. There we go. All right.
What the living
Let me
F?
just double check. Okay, good. All right, awesome. All right. Once again, I will make it all nice and fancy later. and
Cardinals did run a
whatnot,
4-3
so.
last year, Ralphie. Well, I'm sorry, a 3-4. I can't read. We know that. 3-4.
You ready now, Frank?
I am ready. Yes.
Oh, Jesus
All
Christ! I only told you to have this ready like 6 hours ago. All right. So, fam, what we are going to do, we are going to
Hold
rank.
on a sec, Rye.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I jumped the gun.
This is brought to you by our good friends over at Gleason's Bar, located 6700 Mill Creek Avenue in Levittown, PA. Use promo code ATD, get 10% off your order whenever you dine in, take out, or online. Gleason's Bar and Steaks.com is where you can find them. All right, we're listing our top 10 Philly athletes. So pretty basic. Let's go. Let's get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Ralphie, make your nomination for one. Let's start with you.
Number 1, easy. Joel Embiid. Easy.
I'm going Bryce Harper.
Embiid.
Jason Kelsey.
Ooh.
Damn it. That's a good
My
one.
nominee is Jalen Hurts.
Well, majority wins. You got to go Embiid.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Yeah, I don't think that's a problem.
No, that's fine.
No, I mean the only reason.
it's
I mean,
fine.
really, the only reason I went Kelsey is because he's the only one that's won something in the city.
True, but it's hard to put a center number 1.
I agree. Completely agree.
Now my 2 is Harper.
Yeah,
I'll go Bryce.
Bill, Reggie
This
White
is
doesn't
current,
play.
brother.
Bill,
Current, Bill.
Current.
Reggie White's not active.
Unless if we somehow magically resurrected Reggie White.
Harper. We'll go 3 there.
All right, majority rules.
I'll
3
go.
is Jalen.
Yeah, I'll go Lane.
For 3?
Yeah, but I get why Lane would lose to a quarterback. I get it.
Yeah, Jalen. Jalen's 3.
Jalen.
Jalen.
All right. Easy enough.
Right?
Here's where you could go a bunch of different ways. So I'll go back to my number 1 here. I'll go Kelsey here at 4. I think once you get through those top 3,
Yeah,
you could kind of go a bunch of different directions.
Yeah, that's Trey
Yeah.
Turner.
exactly.
At 4.
Yeah, Turner was my 5, so I'll just stick with the Lane, but I don't have an issue with Turner at all. I think Lane's got to be in the 5. If just in my opinion.
Lane's got to be somewhere up.
No, let's get
Lane
through
and
4.
Kelsey gotta be
Right?
both.
We'll get through 4
Yeah,
and
let's
then we'll
figure
get
out
to 5.
4.
That's my nominee for 4. That's who I think. I think it's Trey Turner. I think you went and got arguably one of the best players in baseball. So when you're one of the best players in your sport, I think you need to be up on the list.
Ralphie?
Yeah, I agree. Give me Turner.
I'm gonna go. Jason Kelsey. go on Team Greg.
Well, it was 3-2 Turner. So you got to go Turner, Frank. Come on. 5.
Kelsey for me, dude. Come on, guys.
I'll go
Guys. It's Jason Kelsey top 5. He has to be top 5. He hasn't missed it down in almost 17,000
Lane
years.
Johnson hasn't allowed a sack.
He
More than
hasn't
one
missed
sack
it
in
down in
back-to-back
almost
years.
17,000 years. Yeah, almost. Come on, dude.
I'm not
Jason
disrespecting
Kelsey's top
Kelsey.
5.
I'm not
Jason
disrespecting him.
Kelsey's top 5 over Lane Johnson. The guy's a goddamn Iron Man.
I think they're 5 and 6. So I don't think it really matters over an
It does
argument.
matter. It does
No,
matter.
it doesn't, because you're talking about 2 All-Pros.
Oh
You're talking about 2 first ballot Hall of
Okay, and
Famers.
a guy that's
So what are you
never missed a
arguing?
snap. A guy that's never missed a snap.
That's a cool story. It's
He's already
awesome.
started every
Nobody's
single
taking it
game.
away. He's a first ballot
Every
Hall of
single
Famer.
game.
But so's Lane. Is Lane not a first ballot Hall of Famer? Does
Lane's
Lane
been
not have the
banged
same
up.
ring?
Lane's
What
been
position is
banged up.
more impactful?
PED, stuff like that. Come on, dude.
Okay, PED. What's more impactful than National Football League?
I understand. I understand.
right
the
tackle or a
I
center?
understand that. But
Come
a guy
on.
that has snapped in almost 17,000 years, Tommy.
Cool, the guy had a
come
great
on, dude.
speech too. I get it.
Oh
I
my
get
God.
it. But he's not better
It's not
than
about
Lane.
speech, dude. He's been available.
Going
ever
in the
since-
we don't even know.
He's been available.
we don't even
ever
know if
since
he's
he put
playing,
quarter
Ralph.
pads on in
Ralph,
midnight
you're
game.
listening
Has
to
he
guy.
not?
You're
Has he
listening to guy
not?
number
Has Jason
5.
Kelsey-
You're
has
listening to guy number
Jason
5 who might not
Kelsey-
play. He
Has
won't
Jason
count.
Kelsey not been available every single time he's put on midnight
Cool
game?
story. He might not be available in 2023.
Oh my
Is that
God.
factual?
Okay, and
Yes
Lane
or no?
Johnson.
Yes or no?
Lane
Yes
Johnson's
or no?
gonna play every game. Every
Is
game in
Lane
2023.
Johnson's
Okay.
under contract. Lane Johnson's going to
Okay.
be here. My point is,
I'm saying Lane Johnson's going to play every single game in 2023
answer my first question that I
because
asked.
for the past 3 years he
Is
hasn't. Really.
Jason Kelsey guaranteed to play in 2023?
No, but okay, but
So he
okay.
shouldn't be on the fucking list.
Okay, then is Lane Johnson guaranteed to play every game in 2023?
He's back, Ralph.
Oh my God, you're not getting what I'm saying, though, dude.
Oh, I get what you're
Jason
saying.
Kelsey's top 5.
I'm a big comprehension guy, but I'm also a big fat guy. Facts.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
I like
me
fat
too.
guys too. I like a little. But come on, Ralphie. My point about Kelsey, he's absolutely a top 5 guy. Okay. The point is, we don't know if he's going to be back, so he really shouldn't even be on the fucking list until he's back. He might not play, so how's he a 2023 best athlete?
But this is current though.
Currently, he's not playing.
Oh my God.
Currently, he's not under
You guys can put
contract.
whoever you want at 5. I'm going Kelsey 5 for me.
Greg, you're
I'll
a
die on this
reasonable
hill.
human being. Greg, you're a reasonable human
Yeah,
being.
yeah. Go to them. Go to them.
No,
Let's see
I'm
what
asking
they
a
say.
question like, how would we put a guy on a list when he might retire?
That's absolutely the fairest point of this
Oh
all.
my
And I love that the biggest argument came over Lane Johnson and Jason Kelsey. Like, I love the fact that this was the biggest argument because I think they're two monumental powerhouses for this city and for the 2022 Eagles. You can't beat the fact that Jason Kelsey is a free agent and might retire. Like, that can't not be part of the discussion. And that's coming from a guy who tried to put him 1. You know what I mean? I'll lean on. I'll go to the Lane side here for 5.
Yeah,
I'll go to Lane side for 5.
Can we do Lane 5,
Can
Jason
we
6?
slide Jason 6?
Yeah.
You guys are criminals, man. Criminals.
Well, listen,
Criminals.
Ralph, if Jason commits to the 2023 season, we'll bump him over Lane, but he has 5 minutes to do so before we finish the list. Okay, that's the deciding factor. Okay, you text Jason and you tell him, hey, you got to commit now if you want to be top 5. If not,
I don't think
we
he
gotta
should
move
even be on the list. He might not play. So he's done. He's done. So what's it like? We're giving a Howie deal? Like, hey, we appreciate you. We're going to put you up here even though you're not playing anymore.
Well, we all think he's playing. That's the thing. We all think he's playing. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we thought it was like actually over, but that's why he gets deducted one spot. So
I think number 7,
James
currently.
Harden.
There's 2 guys I have in mind there.
Yeah, I'm going to go Zach Wheeler.
That's a good name. You know, yeah, forget James Harden. Give me Zach.
I was thinking Schwartz, but I like the wheel.
I was
I can't put a guy
Tyrese
that's
Maxey.
220 there, Greg, right? You know what I mean? As much as I love myself some Schwartz, but I gotta be fair on a guy who's like a freaking, since he's gotten here, has been in the Cy Young conversation.
Fair.
The 2 guys I was thinking between was Harden and Redick.
Yeah, Redick had a great year, right? A great year. So he's not carrying anymore, Bill. So knock it off. He's not carrying. Their season's over. I know it's hard to comprehend. Their season's over. Christ almighty. They don't got a game next week. Fucking God. Comprehension's so hard out there in 2023. We still put them on the list, Bill. So grow up.
Wheeler 7.
Jesus.
What?
Nothing. Nothing.
I don't know. I just don't love the Wheeler one. I don't know. He's awesome.
Well, it's not the love.
Well, I could.
No, you can't put. Well, you can't put other sports you can't put a love for another sport over a guy who's been flat out dominant on the mound. Like you can't.
What do you mean a love for another sport?
Because you like football more than you like baseball, so that's just fine, and it's not a shot at you. That's what you like more, and that's okay.
Well, that doesn't have anything to do with it. His
Well, it doesn't. Come on. The common human nature has a lot to do.
But that's not my
with what we
main
like
reason.
more.
His
I'm not
sons had
saying it's
three.
your main reason. I'm saying
His sons had three
Dom-
straight dominant seasons.
Cool. One here though. The other guys had 2. The other guys had 2. Right. It's only fair. You're not wrong. Like Hassan Reddick's a great name. It's this fucking list. I hate these stupid lists. They're all fucking semantics anyway. And it's going to go off what team you like a little bit more. And what was your last memory? Your last memory isn't Zach Wheeler shoving. Our last memory is Hassan Reddick shoving. So I get it. But I just don't want guys getting missed that are top players in their sport too. And Wheeler is a top 5 arm in fucking baseball. In baseball. Is Hassan Reddick. Hassan Reddick probably top 5 DN in football? He to me he is. Now, where the NFL puts him and other guys. But listen, it's like I said, it's all fucking semantics. It's opinion, totally opinion based on what we like. You know what I mean? Which is fine.
Greg, who's your vote? Wheeler?
Wheeler.
Ralph, you want Wheeler?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, so now we have 8.
We're on 8, right? We're on 8.
Yeah.
I go Harden.
Yeah, Harden's not getting this list for me. There's too many other guys that have proven stuff here than James Harden, right? He's had a very good year.
Do you go back to back? Do you go back to back though? Do you go Nola here?
I was thinking about it, but I'll go Reddick or AJ Brown. I'll go one of those two, and wait.
I will go
Nola.
Hassan Reddick. I will go Hassan.
Yeah, I think he's good in the 8 hole for sure, and I think AJ would probably be good in the 9 hole. In reality, depending on what you think, right? Okay, whatever. Hills, cool. Turner's an MVP finalist all over. Or is Hassan Reddick? He wasn't even Defensive Player of the Year nominee.
Yeah, disgusting.
No, I'm not saying it's right. I'm just telling you. And the other guy we just signed, it's going to be here until he's 90. So I think he deserves to be on the list for a minute. But I hear you.
Already cracking windshields.
Yeah, right.
I don't know if AJ's over Smitty Martian. I don't know. I would put Smitty over.
Good 8. I'm good Reddick 8.
I'm good Reddick 8. Yeah. Anybody got a problem with Reddick 8?
No.
Nope.
Right.
No.
We got 2 left.
Yeah.
And I agree. Whether he's on the list, I agree though, Tommy. I agree AJ over Devontae just based off of body of work, right? You know what I mean? But that's probably the last year you say that, because I think Devontae overtakes him next year potentially.
Ralphie, are you laughing because there's no Flyers on this list?
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Well, what flyer are you putting on here?
Gritty.
I know, right? Yeah, right. Like
Sam Errolson?
Yeah, right.
I might put the damn head coach on the list before I put a player. Does Real Muto get any mention in here?
Should.
I think he's got to.
Yeah.
He gets mentioned.
How about Tyrese Maxey?
No, not yet. Talking about all-star guys here. Best catcher in baseball. He's number 9.
Frank, I was thinking the name, but once you kind of get regulated to the bench, and not that it's a shot, right? I think he's filling that role nicely, but once you kind of get regulated to the bench, and a guy like James Harden comes in and kind of takes a little bit of your thunder away, it drops you down a couple notches.
Ethan, I really hope you're trolling us right now. I really hope you're trolling us.
Yeah, JT 9.
JT.
I'll go JT.
I'd go JT 9, Nola 10. If it's
No, that's what it should be.
Yeah,
That's what it absolutely should be. And people are going to be like, Philly's on that list because they're fucking loaded.
just went to
They're
the World
fucking
Series.
loaded. Yeah, they're loaded.
They've got like a top 3 like salary cap. You know what
And
I'm saying?
Nola and Wheeler are a gigantic part on why they were there.
Yeah.
Huge part. That some people will pass over in the chat, because Nola gets a lot of heat. But James Harden, AJ Brown, with all due respect, Devontae, I don't think they're in the same conversation as JT and Knowles right now. Because even Aaron Nola is a top 10, 15 pitcher in baseball.
Yeah.
We're going to find out how much money.
How many years ago was I always forget? How many years ago for the Cy Young when he lost to DeGrom? Was it 3 years ago that he lost to DeGrom?
Yeah, I think it was the year before Wheeler. So, 3 years ago.
And to be honest with you, JT.
I mean, Chris might be right. I mean, he might be the best catcher we've ever had.
No, yeah. I mean, JT might, probably should be in your top or in our top 5 somewhere, but it's okay because who do you take out, right? So it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
No Slay, Matt. No Slay. We're good.
No, Slay's not in the top 20.
Go do your podcast. I don't think he gets top 15 here.
No, there's like 7 teammates just on the Eagles that I would vote over Slay.
And Bert, I can't put Brandon Graham. We can't do Brandon Graham on this list because he was a rotational player. It's hard. And that's why Hassan's a little tough too, in a way. Not that he's rotational, but, snaps do go to BG, right? So, they're not necessarily every down players anymore. I think Hassan's more every down than BG, obviously, right? But
yeah.
But he's a fucking freak. So
did we do 9 and 10?
Yeah, it's JT and Nola.
yeah, and the only Sixer that should be on here right now is Joel Embiid.
And he's won.
Because that's just a fair way of doing it. I love Bryce, right? Bryce has really grown on me. He's matured, right? Did a lot of things that I really enjoy seeing, right, guys? That were fair question marks early on in his career. Okay. But he's not better than Joel Embiid. He's just not. And I love me some Hart, but he's just not.
Win the World Series? Yes, you're number 1.
Yeah, you're number 1, dude. You're a freaking folk hero. But they didn't.
Yeah.
And the Sixers haven't won shit, so that doesn't.
Well, and that's why again, like when you get up there, you're arguing greatness versus greatness, like pimp versus pimp. The only reason why I was so quick to go Harper 1 was because he had that dominance in the playoffs. Embiid, for whatever reason, facial fracture 1, facial fracture 2, whatever. Like we haven't been able to see
a walking bucket. He's a walking bucket.
Listen, I hear you, Ralphie.
2 steps on the court, he has 35 already.
Ethan, I don't think anybody forgot what Bryce did in the playoffs. I mean, he's number 2.
Yeah.
Did we see what Jalen just did in the Super Bowl? So, I mean, you can make an argument Jalen should be above both of them. If we're just going off of postseasons, Jalen just had arguably one of the better Super Bowls from a quarterback that we've ever seen. So you know what I mean? Like, then if we're going just off of that, like, there's a lot of semantics with it, right? If you're going just off of that, then Jalen's the most recent in your memory balling out. Like, Bryce started going over in the Houston series.
Yeah.
Not a shot at him. You can only hit for so long, right? You know what I mean? But like it's not like he tore it up in the World Series. That's not, he had that 1 homer and that was it. You know what I mean? And nobody hit. Like, they're loaded. And that's part of the why we were scared. But Embiid's a different story, right? And I think Ryan said it. The injuries have sort of, put an asterisk next to what he could be in the postseason. And we'll find out because he could very well drop down with a second-round exit. He won't even be in our list. He'll be fucking traded.
Well, he's the type of generational talent that we'll talk about with our kids and grandkids about, even if he doesn't win a damn title, even if he doesn't get past an Eastern Conference Finals, just because of how different he was. Like, that's why I laughed at, like, when they called, like, Porzingis the unicorn. It's like, no. Freaking Joel Embiid's the unicorn, and because not only can he do everything a damn guard can do, and he's 6'1", 6'2", every year he unleashes a new bag of tricks. He's like, oh, I'm going to be Kobe Bryant this year. Oh, I'm going to be Hakeem this year. I'm going to be Shaq this year. It's like he's playing different characters and different legends in the history of the game, and he can decide which guy he wants to emulate depending on what day of the week it is. It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. We've been robbed of what he can do in the playoffs just because of just happenstance and injury and missed free throws.
I would say 11. You might start getting into Harden ish, right? Maybe just off a body of work, right? We just haven't seen enough here, right, guys? I mean, it's only being fair.
Yeah, what's it been a year and a half, right, for Harden so far?
Yeah, he's had a great year this year, so I don't want to take anything away from it. But I think Harden gets judged off of, when the playoffs start, as he should at this point in his career. Fletcher's not under contract, Billy Blue, and he's on his way. He's on the downside of his career, so.
Yeah, he hasn't been a top 10 player in Philly, I would say, for 3 years. Is that fair to say?
Nobody's sleeping on Fletcher. His dominance for years doesn't go into being the best athlete now.
What is he too? He's like a 30-something-year-old rotational interior lineman. Like, he was great a couple years ago when he was a $100 million man. We have to remember this is a guy who was cut and brought back at a very cheap contract. The man
I would say 11 might be like AJ, Devontae. You start getting into those names.
Yeah, at least an Eagles wide receiver, at least one of them.
Yeah, both of them. You get in the Harden, you get in the Schwarbs, right? You start working your way there. You maybe even start making some cases for guys like, as you get deeper, like guys like Sir Anthony can sneak up on lists, right? I mean, there's some guys who can sneak up on lists that, Slay might sneak up on a list, right? In your top 20 per se, right?
I think your next 4, 11, 12, 13, 14, in any particular order, is between Smith, AJ, Harden, and probably Schwarber, I would say.
Yeah.
Of that.
Probably fair.
Yeah, I'm trying to think who else, right?
I love the Ranger pick out of Ethan. Now, he can't be yet.
Stop. Did you just say that, Ethan? Like, I was just thinking, like, I wasn't looking.
I really like that. I was
like, he's just so calm and confident.
If he's dominant again, if he's dominant this year, he might be 3.
No. This is a hard no, Yusuf. I love you, but absolutely not. You got to be. Part of this is health too, man. That guy misses games every fucking year, every year, and I love Dallas. Because he's super talented, but he misses too many games. Yeah, Billy Blue, I hate Slay. So, not like personally. Like, I'm sure he's a good dude. I just don't like him as a football player. And now I know why Matt Patricia did it. Sorry, too soon? He could take a fucking hike, if you ask me. He does a little too much talking now. You ain't Revis Island, babe. You ain't a first ballot Hall of Famer, so knock it off. All right? You're a very good corner. Isn't that fair to say? Like, can we not overvalue everything? And just say, like, the guy's a very good corner. He's not elite. Not going to lead off. You all don't know what elite is. Sauce Gardner's the kind of elite shit.
He's going to be so good. He's going to be so good. It's disgusting. How good he's going to be.
2 of the best cornerbacks in this league are 2 guys that are, like, early 20s. It's Sauce Gardner and Patrick Surtain.
And dude, they're both pimps. Yeah. Both pimps.
Yeah. Well, at some point you get older, right? And at the cornerback position, to me, getting older does not help you. You understand? It hurts you. So you got to constantly get younger there. Make sense? Like, that's not a position where it's like, hey, guy's 32. Like, yeah, the greats, sure, but not the goods. There's a difference from the goods and the greats.
Yeah,
Harry Slay's good.
Another guy.
We need his wife here. Shut the frig up, dude. Go on Instagram. There's tons of hot chicks. You don't need his wife here to creep on his goddamn wife. You losers, knock it off. All right, come on. We don't keep guys or love guys because they're their wives. Grow up. This is pro sports. Like, oh, she makes a great freaking pudding. Fucking cool story. So will somebody else. First fucking pudding ever. So we got to keep them. Extend them too while we're at it. Knock it off. All right, I've seen enough. I was the most critical person of that deal, and I don't feel good about it. I'm not saying Sidney Jones is better, right? It's just like I think people overreacted to like what kind of player we were getting. Like he was the best of the best. Like he had a great year last year, right, boys?
He peaked.
I think at the time that we traded him, it was like getting prime Revis, right? It was like, oh my God, we finally got a star corner. Like it's been since Lito and Shouten. Holy shit, we finally got a star corner or Asante. We could put Asante Samuel on that list.
Yeah, you don't pay like Ted said, you don't pay the money you pay Darius Slay to be good. You understand? That money is for the greats. That dude ain't a first. Is that dude first team All Pro? Did I miss something this year? Was he second team All Pro? Was he any of those accolades this year?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. That's why I'm bringing it up. I'm using it for my agenda. Yeah, totally agenda based.
He's an above average cover corner who peaked last year. That's just what it is. He's not.
Yeah, and then with the opposite of peak, right? After like week 7.
Yes.
Fucking.
Yeah, he was first team All Pro.
When?
This year.
The fuck out of here! I don't believe your Google. He was first team All Pro. Who does that voting?
Damn, Darius was first team All Pro.
No way, dude. No way. These awards are a joke anymore.
Yeah, he was.
Slay, Kelsey, and Johnson.
I apologize.
That's a joke. And Hassan Reddick was it?
Wait, Hassan Reddick wasn't first team All Pro?
But Darius Slay was.
I love how we're reacting to this like 2 months after the fact.
Yeah,
like
I hate awards.
I don't follow awards. I follow team awards.
Me neither.
So
Hassan Reddick had 16.5 sacks and he's not first team.
Yeah, but Darius Slay he had 1 pick. How many picks did he have this year?
That's a good question.
How many picks?
4. I want to say
he had 4.
I want to say.
Where the fuck did those 4 come from?
I think 2. I think 2 happened. I think 2 happened in the Vikings game.
Yeah.
And I think
he had 3 interceptions. He had 2 in the Vikings and 1 in the Cowboys, and that's it.
Early Cowboys too.
October 16th, a Sunday night game.
I thought he had 1 in the Lions game.
Nope.
Why the hell did I think? Was
2
that
against
last year?
Minnesota on the week 2 game, and then the Sunday night game against Dallas. The one.
Did he make? Let me ask you a question. Did he make first team All Pro last year?
Oh, he definitely did.
No, I want to see something. I need to know something here. I want to know if this was given out because they messed up last year.
Well, he had 3 interceptions last year, so he might have made it again.
Yeah, but he also had 1 to the house, and he had a fumble return he took to the house. Like he had some defensive touchdowns. He
definitely had a pick 6.
He was defensive player of the week like 3 times last year. Not this past
year.
He
was All Pro. He was All Pro second team last year.
Yep. Jerked me off a little bit. I know how this works. So you threw a guy a fucking cookie, losers.
Who made second team in the NFC this year for cornerbacks?
That's a great.
I know Sauce is in the AFC. I know Surtain's in the AFC. I knew the quarterback pool in the NFC sucked, but is that the case with cornerbacks? Like corner, like CB, not QB?
No, I'm sure there's some dudes. That we're not thinking of. There's some kittens.
Like did Diggs?
Jair Alexander is better than Darius Slay. I don't care what anybody says.
All right, who's better, Diggs or Darius Slay?
Well, Diggs probably.
Second team All Pro corners was for the NFC was Jair and James Bradberry.
I agree, Greg.
You want to what, Greg?
I think they're different corners. I wouldn't.
Well, no, it depends what you want. You want a ball hawk because that's Diggs.
Right
now, you got to take the good with the bad. Right.
To that point, though, yeah. I will give Diggs credit. He wasn't as beatable this year as he was last year.
Cleaned it up a little bit.
He really improved. Now you also see though that he wasn't as impactful taking the football away either.
No, I don't know.
But he was a better. He was a better quarterback.
I don't know if he's better than Darius, but I'll tell you one thing's for sure.
But he's younger.
Jair
earlier.
Yeah, well, Jair Alexander's the best corner in the NFC.
I would agree.
It's not up for debate. Like I hate to do that.
I think AJ Terrell's pretty good in Atlanta.
AJ Terrell, very underrated, very good, young.
Yeah.
Very young, too, I believe.
Yep.
He was just picked not too long ago, right?
I mean, it's a shame J.C. Horn, and not that we're trying to find guys that are better, but it's a shame J.C. Horn was hurt because I think he's a guy that has potential to be a really good corner.
We liked him a little bit draft night for
Tom,
sure.
I think he was a 22nd round pick, Terrell. Because I think we were sitting on draft night, and I think we wanted him.
Yeah. So he's a puppy still.
Yeah.
Yusuf, that's a great name. I mean, Jalen Ramsey's in the NFC still, as far as we know. And until that time's done, he's probably better than Jair.
He's probably better, but I don't think he's had better years. You know what I mean? Like, I don't disagree that.
There's good corners over here.
Yeah. Lattimore.
Defensive Rookie of the Year. Lattimore, who's physical, aggressive, up in your face style. and Jair's a lot like in my opinion, like Lattimore. They're physical. They want to get up in you.
That late season game against the Vikings when Jair laid out Jefferson and then gritted on his face, I said that game was over.
Yeah.
Because of the way you saw Lattimore or you saw Alexander just ready to he was gonna match JJ, whatever he was gonna do.
Well, I would say in a guy's a top 5 to 7 corner in a conference, how is that disrespecting? Because part of it's moving forward now too. Will
a lot of good corners in that.
He's getting older while other guys are young. Like, I'm not disrespecting him. I'm telling you that at this point of his career, the trajectory will probably be going south. That's not a shot, man. It's not disrespecting. We get so attached. We would blow ourselves if we got Jerry Alexander. You know, we would literally probably throw a parade if we got a guy like that. Yeah.
So the last week in December, the NFL did a ranking, or an NFL site. It wasn't the NFL. The best cornerbacks in the NFL. I just want to get you guys to react to this. This was regular season this year. They had Sauce Gardner 1. They had Stephon Gilmore 2. Jalen Ramsey 3. Surtain 4. They had Slay 5.
Yeah, that's a slap in the face to Jair.
They have Jair 6.
Yep.
They have Trevon Diggs 7. Bradberry 8. Charvarius Ward 9. Jamil Dean 10. Then you've got Chidobe Awuzie, AJ Terrell at 12.
Jair's so good, dude.
JC Horn at 17, Greg. Marlon Humphrey on the Ravens at 14. Tariq Woolen, Chuck's favorite, at 18. L'Jarius Sneed on the Chiefs at 25. Xavier Howard, 26.
Yeah, Alex.
And then Eagle legend Rasul Douglas at 32.
That's nice.
Great show.
Yep, absolutely.
Great talk, boys. We'll see everybody. We'll see everybody next Wednesday. Me and Greg will see you Sunday. We appreciate you all in the chat. We love you.
Phillies game on Sunday. Hey,
everybody, hit that like, hit that subscribe. Couple programming alerts. March 11th and 12th. We will be doing a show from the Yankee spring training. On the 11th and on the 12th, we will be doing a live show from Philly spring training in Clearwater. So
nice.
A couple of little programmings there. And then at the end of the month, there will be the start of a caller-driven show. We're going to go back to Tom Arnone Live, and it's going to be an afternoon, little hour type show, and it's going to be caller-driven. So excited to have some of you guys on, and let's get after it a little bit. So some programming and notes. So we'll have some coverage. I know nobody likes the Yankees, but we'll have some coverage. We have a New York show on the platform. So Brandon will be doing Braden would be doing the Yankee stuff as well down there, and then we'll have Phillies. So a little back-to-backer. Nice to muck it up. We'll let everybody know where exactly we will be doing it from, if it's the concourse or if it's right outside. We're just working out those details now. So excited. Great show for Frank Vesky.
Oh yeah.
Noah Eaton, who left, Greg Mwakovic, Ralph Del Vecchio, Ryan Brodo. I'm Tom Arnone. We love you. We appreciate you. Tell your friends. Come over. Subscribe. Hit the like. Darius Slay's not a top 10 corner.